The following program contains scenes and language of adult and explicit adventure. Your discretion is advised. In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now. Oh my God! Okay. I figured it out. Now I know why it does that sound. Okay. The sound is coming in the wrong way. That's why. Okay. So, you're hearing my voice now because I was monitoring to see if it sounded okay. So we're going to stop this the way it is, I think. All right. So now I guess we'll be on. Oh, wait, where are you? There we are. Okay. All right. Now we're working. Okay. All right. So hopefully we can fix. I know what the problem is, Doug. You said something about a problem with the sound, and I think I figured the problem with the sound, other than the normal idea. So what happens is we're taking the sound. The sound of us is generally okay, but if we use a sound on there, it reverberates because it's coming through there and through our speaker, I think. So let's see if we can fix that. Let's see if we can make it better. Anyway, so we're We're back again, Trash Talking Radio. We're live and we're in living color or something. So.
And we're on time.
Yeah, we're actually scarily on time. So let's see what happens. See if we can make a show that sounds decent. We'll get things rolling here. A lot of things happened in the past week. A lot of things to talk about. And I don't think we're going to have any problems with material today. I think
No, I don't think so.
we got a few deaths. We got a few political things to talk about. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. So let's just get the show started, won't we? Shouldn't we? So let's talk about. I guess we could do. Let's do the deaths first because that's always fun to get out of the way. I wrote last week. Sly Stone died, and I didn't make an obituary for him because he died too late to get it done for the show. So I was going to go over his stuff this week, and then we had another death, and I thought, all right, I'll make them both obituaries and do it the way we normally do it. So that is what we're going to do. So we'll start with Sly. Do you remember Sly Stone? Sly and the Family Stone?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they I didn't realize what songs they did. I mean, I knew who they were, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what songs they did. And then I thought, oh, did I like them or didn't I? Because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember their songs. And when I was doing the obituary, I realized they had a lot of really good songs, and so we will do them first. Let's see what we got here. All right, here we go. Hope I only did that once. I did it twice. Twice as nice as it had to be. Let's drop that back to once. There we go.
Obituary, Sly Stone, March 15, 1943, June 9, 2025. Pioneering architect of folk and soul revolution. Sylvester Stewart, known to the world as Sly Stone, the genius band leader, musical innovator, and visionary behind Sly and the Family Stone, has passed away at the age of 82. His death marks the end of an era for funk, soul, and rock, but his music and message will live on, career highlights and achievements. Founder of Sly and the Family Stone, one of the most influential integrated bands of the 1960s and 70s, blending funk, soul, rock, and psychedelia. Breakout success with the 1969 album Stand, featuring Anthony Guest. Everyday People. I Want to Take You Higher. Sing a simple song. Stand. Historic rooftop performance, 1969, that electrified a generation. Released the genre-shattering album There's a Riot Going On, 1971, a raw, dark masterpiece that chronicled the disillusionment of the era. Pioneered racial and gender integration in pop bands, Sly and the Family Stone featured both black and white members, men and women, a radical concept in the 60s. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, 2002. Influenced artists across genres, from Prince, George Clinton, and Michael Jackson to modern acts like Outkast, D'Angelo, and Kendrick Lamar. Fun and notable facts. Sly was a child prodigy, playing multiple instruments by age 7. Before fame, he was a radio DJ in the Bay Area, known for his unique on-air style and deep music knowledge. He insisted on creative control, producing and writing nearly all of the Family Stone's materials. Famously elusive and enigmatic, Sly became a mystical figure in later years, sparking rumors and reverent for life. Legacy. Sly Stone didn't just make music, he rewired the cultural soundboard. He turned protest into group, idealism into rhythm, and unity into a danceable revolution. His songs champion peace, love, equality, and individual power, messages that are still relevant today. Though reclusive in his later years, his impact never fades. Each thumping bass line, each layered vocal harmony, each social message embedded in funk, respect slide. He reminded us we're everyday people and that we can dance to the music no matter what divides us. Final note. As we say goodbye to Slidestone, we don't just mourn, we grow. We remember. And we turn up the volume one more time in honor of the man who changed everything. Rest in peace, Lyle.
All right, that's him.
And the reason I took notice of it,
What's that?
because his band was integrated.
Yes, I thought that was interesting. I never thought about that until I heard it, and then I said, yeah, that's true. He was the first guy to put women and men on stage, black and white, and multicultural, he just was. He was a pioneer in what he did, and his music was all about love and peace and stuff like that, and I love that.
I'm sure he was a child of the 60s.
Yeah, but we need more people like him today, and we need more people like him to try to help bring the world together. And I thought that was cool. Hi, Ann. How you doing? We got him, and then sadly, but it was going to happen, the other guy, Brian Wilson. There's another pioneer who was way ahead of his time in a lot of ways. Another guy who was a genius when it came to music. I mean, he really had really understood how to make music, and he made that band.
Ryan Wilson, June 20th, 1932 to June 11th, 2025. Ryan Wilson, co-founder and creative genius of the Beach Boys, passed away on June 11th, 2025, at the age of 82. His death, after a long struggle with dementia, was confirmed by his family in Instagram statements. He was a musical visionary. Born in Inglewood, California in 1942, Ryan showed musical talent from a young age, mastering perfect pitch, teaching himself piano, and developing harmonies alongside his brothers. In 1961, he formed the Beach Boys with brothers Dennis and Harold, cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jarvan, giving birth to the iconic California surf era with hits like Surfing USA, I Get Around, and California Boys. His 1966 masterpiece Heartburn, featuring the brilliant Gavin Rose, redefining pop music and greatly inspired the U.S. Sgt. Pepper album. Paul McCartney later said Pet Sounds blew me out of the water. His ambitious single, Good Vibration, described as a perfect symphony, was a production novel recorded across 4 studios, featuring cello and theremin, and pushing recording boundaries. He had a lot of battles behind the boundaries. Despite his success, Wilson endured deep personal struggles, mental health, schizoaffective disorder and alcoholism led to a breakdown in 1964, prompting him to stop touring and retreat into creative isolation. Eugene Newman Saga, his controversial psychologist and leading smooth control over his life and marriages into a court-ordered restraining order ended the relationship in 1992. Conservatorship and personal law. After the death of his wife Maria in January 2024, he entered a conservatorship as his dementia progressed. He had resurgence and recognition, inducted with the Beach Boys into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988, winning several Grammy Awards for Best Rock and Instrumental, Mrs. O'Neill's Cast, and Best Instrumental Album, Tunnel Sessions. His solo completion of the legendary Smile album in 2004 earned critical praise in his memory. He united with the band for That's Why God Made the Radio, 2012, and Pet Sounds' 50th anniversary tour, 2016. Here are some lesser-known facts. Rock and Memoir, persisted in solving from mastering memories and compositions. Earned enough on his surfing class assignment, later changed to a name in 2018. Briefly in the health food store called Radiant Radish from 1969, often seen wearing a bathrobe behind the register. Famously called a freak, and his brother Carter for his excessive focus on memory and full judgment. His legacy and tributes will last forever. Ryan Woodfield stands for Elton John, the world music revolutionary musical genius, to Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan, and generations of musicians who follow his path. He leaves behind a monumental legacy, a band that sold over 100 million records, pioneered recording technologies, and forever changed the sound of American pop. Ryan Woodfield is survived by his daughters Kylie and Mindy, and Wilson Fiddles, inspired adopted children, and a world of community musicians forever inspired by his brilliance.
He
There we
was a
go.
great loss before he died.
Yeah. Any time someone has to go through dementia, that is sad. But yeah, that was a hard one for me because I remember growing up with the Beach Boys too. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's so many songs that they did that were really good and really, I mean, they're upbeat stuff and it's all about that childhood I wish I had. I wanted to have that childhood. I wanted to have those the beach type because I loved it when I went to the beach. I was a big lover of the beach and still am. I haven't been to the beach for a while, but it was like that's one thing I do remember is them guys. And actually, John Stamos was the drummer for that band at times. He was the Uncle Jesse in Full House or whatever. I don't or something like that. Or he was in Full House. All I know is I don't know too much about Full House because I never watched it. But I just found it very interesting that he was a drummer too. So and that he played with the Beach Boys of all people. So that was cool. But those were really kind of sad that we lost both of those within a week of each other. So
Well, I wasn't into pop. I've never been into pop, but everybody's into the Beach Boys.
yeah, I've never been really into pot either, and the Beach Boys. I just what I did off the air. We were talking about what we're going to talk about later on, the heavier music. I was into the Beach Boys back before I got into that heavier music because I didn't know the heavier music really existed at that point. So I found that it was really kind of interesting to me that once I found that heavier music, I didn't really listen to the minor stuff. So once I discovered there's another thing out there. But that was kind of interesting. All right, we got some birthdays. You probably won't know a lot of these because a lot of these are current or we'll find out. Let's find out if you know him. Bill Burr. Bill Burr is a comedian. I don't know if you know who he is, but here is he. He has stuff on.
He is no one I know.
He has some comedy specials on Netflix, and he is very funny. He's actually very, very funny. He's 57. I know you know this next one. Sasha Obama.
Sasha.
Yes. She looks
She's gotta
like
be 40.
she looks like
her mom.
she looks like this.
She's got to be 40.
Believe it or not, take it in half. 24.
24.
24. Remember those girls? That was only when was it? That was he was
like they were only kids.
yeah. They were like 12 or so because
Yeah.
their dad was president in what 2008, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I thought you would get that one because I thought that was pretty close to But
Yeah, I remember them as older, but they were just young. Because Michelle protected them.
Yes, and they were real young kids. Actually, here's a picture of them as while he was in the office, I believe. This one here. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know which one it is, but it's one of these two. But yeah, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, that's oh, there it is for her 24th birthday. But I don't think this is her on her 24th. I don't think she's 24 there. If she is, she ages really well. Next one, Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. is 58.
He is older than me. He is 64.
Wow.
Don't know if you know this next guy. His name's Hugh Laurie. He is the what was the name of that show he was in? He was
House.
House. Yeah.
sure I know him.
Oh, you do know him. Okay, well
Oh, yeah, I love that. I've watched every episode.
I didn't think you would know
At least
him.
once.
Okay.
I'm going to say 78.
No, he's near your age. He is 66.
Wow.
Peter Dinklage. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No, I did not.
Did you ever watch? What else was he in? He was in a lot of stuff. He's a midget. A midget. I like him a lot. He's a cool guy. There he is. This is him from Game of Thrones.
No idea.
Okay, he's 56. You probably don't know this next guy, Jimmy Yang. He's a comedian in California. Wait, oh, that don't look like him. Hold on.
No, that's not Jimmy.
That's not even Jimmy Carter. It's wrong president. Jimmy Yang. There we go.
No, don't know him.
He's a young guy. He's 38. I know you know this next one. Do you remember, what was her? Barbarella? Barbarella? No. Adrienne Barbeau. Do you remember her?
Let me see.
I know we saw her in all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
She was hot.
Yes. Hard to forget.
Yes. That look you can't forget.
She's got to be in her 60s.
Higher?
70.
Higher?
80.
80, yes. Hard to believe.
Wow.
I mean, when we were kids, we were fawning over her in the freaking 70s.
Yeah.
She still looks good at that, because I'm assuming this is her today.
Wow. She aged as well.
She did. I believe that's a recent one there. So she looks pretty good. Let's see, who else we got here? Oh, do you know the Avengers?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris Evans. He was Captain America.
$52.
Not too far off, 44. And he actually he didn't want to do Captain America anymore, so he gave it to what's his name? The black guy. He gave it to the guy that had the wings. I can't remember his name now, but he came out and he did some other thing. He was in Wolverine too. The last Wolverine. He was playing a superhero, not Captain America, and it was funny because they were. You got to see Wolverine. I think he got killed in it, but it was really funny because Wolverine like kind of rides the line when it comes to doing things. He comes really close to really things that aren't allowed to be done, like exposing different superheroes on different shows. Malcolm McDowell. I want to say that he was in Planet of the Apes, maybe? Oh, I hit the wrong button again. Darn it. Was Malcolm McDowell in Planet of the Apes? I can see him.
Version?
The original stuff, I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe not. Maybe that's not. I know his name. Clockwork Orange, he was in that.
Well, he's got to be in his 80s.
He's got to be. Yes, he does. He does have to be in his 80s. Next one. You and I wouldn't be watching this show probably, but Mary Kate Olsen.
One of the Olsen twins.
Actually, both of the Olsen twins. I was going to use the other one next. So there they are.
They're 39.
You got that one right on the nose. Actually, you know what they do now? They have a clothing company, and they're very big in the entrepreneurial business. They have their own businesses. I didn't know much about them because I didn't really watch Full House. But they got out of the acting business. Then we got,
Well, which one's NRX?
oh, I don't know.
I can't remember.
I
One of them.
see. I don't know because I didn't follow their career at all.
She struggled. One of them has struggled with weight issues her entire life.
I would say it would be this one here.
Yes.
She looks.
Whichever one that is.
She really does. Yeah, I don't know. I have to guess it. I'm going to guess Mary Kate, but you know they may have tricked us and switched them. Then we got Steve-O. You know who Steve-O is?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Jackass?
No.
Oh, well, that's Steve-O. He is 51. And who would have thought? He used to be big into drugs and alcohol when he was on that show. He doesn't do drugs and he doesn't do alcohol anymore. And when he does that show, it's really interesting because if he gets hurt, he won't take any drugs or drink anything. He'll actually be a tough guy and do whatever he has to do. He's really clean. Tim Allen.
Tim, yeah, he's
True Time.
yeah. He has a new show this year. I didn't watch it yet.
I haven't watched any of his shows. I haven't watched anything since Tool Time.
Boy, I should know this. I should know this well. He's got to be 68 to 72.
72 is correct. All right. I don't know if you watched Broke Girls, Two Broke Girls.
No.
Okay. You probably won't know this one then. This one is Kat Denning. And she's known for Two Broke Girls. And I love that show. I don't know why I love that show, but I love that show. It's these two, one really hot blonde and this girl here who's pretty hot herself. She played the sad girl, you know, the girl that's not as gorgeous, but I liked her more than the other girl. Anyway, they played two waitresses who were trying to make ends meet and stuff. It was a good show. She's 39. Next one, you should know this one, Ali Sheedy. You probably haven't heard her name in 40 years, but she was Breakfast Club was one.
Oh, yeah. Stuck here.
Yeah.
God, that was pretty God. She's got to be in her 60s now.
She does.
Let's say 64.
You're right there, 63. Richard Thomas, I believe, was he in that stupid show when I was a kid? It was they lived in the middle of nowhere, and it was set in I can't think of the name of it now. It was one of those happy family things that set in the wilderness, and I never watched it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he's got to be in his 60s.
70s.
70s.
74. I don't know if you know this guy. He was on. Yes, yeah, that's the one. It's funny because before the show, I remembered that. Yes, that's what it was. I couldn't remember it for the life of me. Some of this next guy, actually two of the guys that I have coming up, I'll do them back to back. Okay, you probably don't know this one. He played Archie in Riverdale. He's 28. I don't know if you know. He's KJ Apa is his name. Greg Kinnear.
No, not familiar.
He's 62. Okay, then these last three, two of them are Saturday Night Live, so I'll do them first. This guy's name is Will Forte. I don't know if you know him or not, because I don't know if he did a spoof on MacGyver called MacGruber, and whenever he tried to fix things, he'd screw it up and it would blow up anyway. He got a movie out of it. I can't believe he got a movie out of it. But MacGruber. He is 55. You should know this person, Joe Piscopo.
I know Joe. Yeah. Joe's got to be in his 70s.
He is 74. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, if you watched Roseanne or the spinoff, whatever that's called, she was the sister, Laurie Metcalf. And she's also been in a bunch of other stuff too, but that's what she's known for.
Yeah, I know her. I watched Roseanne.
I loved Roseanne, and I loved the spinoff too.
I never watched the spinoff. Let's put her at 68.
You're really close, 70. She's good for 70, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She definitely. But I've seen her in other things too, and she was pretty good in the other things too. But forever I'll know her for that.
Roseanne.
Yeah. All right, we can close all these windows now. We did pretty good.
Yeah, I actually knew people for this time.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too many people you don't know. I mean, but some people I have to put up there because I like them.
Well, but it's hard because I'm not a TV nor movie watcher.
Right. Yep. Like I Peter Dinklage, I would have thought you knew.
Well, if you put up theologians, I'd know them all.
Oh, here's Jesus Christ. How old is he?
2,200.
Oh, man. All right.
Actually, to be truthful, he's infinity because he existed before he became human. So
Okay.
He always has been.
So I want to go back to Brian Wilson and Sly Stallone. When I put them both up, 24 hours later, Sly Stone had one hit, and Brian Wilson had 0 hits. I thought, that's really weird. That took me off guard. Well, I will tell you right now that Sly is at 179. Now, I put these up 4 days ago. And Brian Wilson had 385.
Wow.
So,
Brian's.
Yeah, they actually did.
I mean, he's the Beach Boys. So.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at it, and okay, just for fun, because I did mention this, I'm going to break down the fourth wall here. And I'm going to show you. Oh, I did an audition that I kind of want to play for you, but I did an audition as a Southern preacher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hesitant on playing it for you because it's so bad, but it's supposed to be. So I do not do Southern very well, but they told me they wanted it to be in the vein of this one Southern minister, Jimmy. Not Jimmy. I'll pull it up.
Jerry.
No, it was somebody I didn't know, but you would know him. Jesse Eschlinger. Jesse, who was it? I can't remember now. But anyway, I did this one, and I did it the way I thought the guy would do it. And I actually, I got to play it for you because it's so to me it's so bad, but you might like it. But I think they will like it because it's so bad. Anyway, here is.
Do you know who Jimmy Swaggart is?
Yes, I do.
Well, he's about. Unless he gets a miracle, he's dying in the next couple of days.
I thought about that too because I saw that. Here's what we got. So we got 385. We got 180 for Sly. We got 235 for Loretta Swit. We got 313 for Michael Sumler of Kool and the Gang. We got 520 for Rick Derringer. We got 185 for Norm. Norm, I thought, would go through the roof, and he started out pretty good. Sabu, 319, he stalled. Ruth Buzzy, 141. I really expected more out of her. Here's your Pope, 13. I don't know why that one didn't go. I really expected more out of that. Val Kilmer stalled at 87. Jane North, 76. George Foreman, 873.
Well, that makes sense.
Hackman, 134. Some of these make no sense to me at all. However, I will tell you one thing. The last, from about Ruth Buzzy on, I started doing tagging, and I started doing it the way they say to do it. So it's going through more channels. It's getting more exposure now. So George didn't get that, and he still beat all of them because he's the champ.
Well, he's known for more than just boxing.
Yes, but I mean,
He's known for a grill, and he's known as a preacher, and then he's known for a lot of things.
yeah, but I mean, the fact is, what I'm not talking about is not who's known more than who, but how it circulates through the system. And what happens as people watch it, when you watch it, it becomes, it'll then allow other people to watch it, because the more people that watch it, the wider spread it comes, and it gets on your suggested list and stuff like that. And so I'm starting to get the idea of how they use.
How the algorithm.
Yes, that's right. That's what I want to say. So thank you. I'm glad you said that. All right. Do you want to see the preacher? Oh, by the way, there's our picture of the day.
Yes. Kentucky.
Sabbath Pride Bat. And there's a reason why I put that one up. You know the reason, but no one else knows it yet. Okay, so do you want to see the video?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Don't expect it to be. Well, I'm not gonna read you. I'm gonna let you make your own decision on this. So, okay, I need to duplicate this. I had a good time making it. And I think you will at least laugh at this because it's ridiculous, is what it is. But they asked me to audition. I did not apply for this, so they must have liked my look. So it's called Preacher Jesse. I can't remember his last name for real, but Preacher Jesse is who this is. So here we go. It's a lead, by the way.
I'm auditioning for the part of the Southern preacher. Now listen here. The devil's knocking at your door. But let me tell you something, child of God. He ain't got no keys to this house. I said he ain't got no keys. They're trying to walk in like they own the place. But this house is bought and paid for with the blood of the Lamb. I ain't talking no more. I'm talking the Holy Ghost equity. You're walking around like you're broke, like you're lost, like God don't see you. But let me tell you, we see you, baby. We see you crying in the dark. We see you praying when ain't nobody else looking. And I can tell you right now, you ain't forsaken. You've been chosen. The Lord told me this morning. He said, Jesse. He called me by my name. He said, Jesse, I'm still on the throne, and I ain't never been late. Woo! Glory to God. Oh, I feel the anointing in my elbows. I feel the spirit in my shoes. My hair standing up. Like it's crazy. Somebody shout, Amen. The fire ain't gone. Just waiting for you to light the match. So get your praise back, get your dance back, get your Bible back, and tell the devil, not today, you greasy lie. I got a covenant with the king. Can I get a witness?
Mike,
What?
was that a script you got?
I wrote it.
You wrote it?
Well, okay, AI wrote it, but I refined it.
Your AI did a great job. Your refining did a great job because you're theologically, you're not off much. The only critique I have is you wouldn't have said David.
Well, that's the worst I did. I feel pretty good then. I heard you laughing in the background, and that's what I wanted. Because I wanted. Because if I'm gonna insult somebody, I might as well let you be the one that's insulted. Because I don't know what he wanted. Because they didn't give me a script. They said, we want you to pretend that this is what you're. They said this guy Jesse, or either him, and then he gave me another name too. They said those are the people that they were kind of looking after, and I thought, well, most of those guys are flamboyant. They're not just standing there.
They have charisma.
Yes, and I tried to get that charisma from, my uncle being a Baptist guy, and I've seen him preach a couple times, and I just kind of wanted to figure out if I was doing a movie, what would I want that guy to do? And I really captured what I wanted to capture.
Well, you did a pretty good job.
Well, you want me to preach at your church?
You can come in. If you give that kind of message, you can preach anytime you want.
I even tried to look like I was talking to a bunch of people rather than just looking at the camera. Because normally when you do that, you just look at the camera. Or you look at, well, when you introduce yourself, you're looking at the camera. When you're actually doing your part, you look slightly to the right or to the left. And so I didn't want to look like I was reading into the camera. I wanted to look like I was talking to a bunch of people. So that was fun, though. That was probably the most fun I've had doing an audition. I don't know what they think, but it's a lead. So if I get that, if the production is the preacher versus the press or something like that. So it's a lead. So I wouldn't mind having it. And it's, it doesn't pay great, but it pays decent. And it's New Jersey, so I wouldn't have to go too far. But
being a televangelist, I mean, you nailed it when you said God spoke to me this morning. You nailed that. You nailed the fact that I feel the anointing in my elbows, in my shins. You nailed that. You nailed a lot of stuff that TV preachers do.
My AI was good about helping me do that. So I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad that it looked authentic. It was fun to play, and it really wasn't that bad as far as becoming that character, because I read it a couple times and played it a couple times and tried to figure out how I was going to do it, and because I don't really feel like I could do a Southern minister. That was the AI actually helped me figure out which words I was supposed to stress and stuff like that, because I wasn't really sure how I was going to do that. I wasn't sure how I was going to pull that off.
Can I get a witness? I mean, that's standard fare.
Yeah.
TV preachers, right?
Yeah. Hallelujah. Say amen. Can I hear amen?
Yeah. See, that's what I do. I'll go amen, and I'll put a question mark on the end, and I get people to say amen back to me.
Okay. Well, that's my first preach.
And you did that. That was in there. I mean, your AI and your talent. You did it.
That was fun, though. It was.
Impressed.
I can, I truly do get the high, if you will, that you get doing that. I really do. When I was doing that, I was imagining that there were a lot of people there, and I could imagine me connecting with certain people as I do when I'm a singer. But when you talk, you really have to worry about stumbling over your words. When you sing, you can mumble your words and nobody will know. But when you're talking, people are listening, so you have to be careful you don't say something wrong. So that was fun, though. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the script. That way you can use it this week.
There you go. Maybe someone will be stupid enough to put me on TV.
Yeah. Reverend Doug. That's right. Brother Doug. It's funny. It is funny. I'm glad you liked it. I was a little concerned. I was thinking, I'm going to play this for him, and he's not going to like it. I'm going to feel like maybe I shouldn't have put it, I shouldn't have submitted it. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because I really do think that I guess they were looking for my look. They saw my look and wanted, I looked like that person that they were looking for. So I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, but if I get it, that'd be fun. So, and tomorrow I go to New York, and I'm going to be a cop tomorrow. So from preacher to cop.
There you go.
So
Preacher cop.
that's right. That could be a new TV show. The Preacher Cop, starring. It was fun though. Good. I'm glad you did like it. I wasn't sure how you were going to do it, how you were going to take it, but that was good.
You're carrying on instead of saying "make my day," you could go, "You're going to meet your maker." Boom.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's good. All right, let's. Guess I'll run through some of these things. I'll try to run through some of this stuff fast, because I grabbed a bunch of articles. I wasn't sure if I was going to have time to do a bunch of stuff, and I tried to throw stuff in. See, so this weekend I practiced Saturday with the new band and Sunday with the old band. So I was really busy this weekend. And plus we picked up the car on Thursday, the new car. And the problem with it is that we couldn't attach a credit card to the car until Tesla officially accepted us as the owner. They want to make sure that the owner of the car, his credit card is being used, not anyone else. So if it was stolen, But anyway, so she couldn't really drive it Friday because she was going too far, but we needed to charge it, and we couldn't charge it here if she was out driving around. So then Saturday she went, and I let her take it Saturday because she didn't have to go as far, and I knew that she could get there and back, and we could charge it here. So Sunday or Monday, they approved the car, and we put a credit card on it so that we can now drive it without having to worry about running out of power. Yeah.
Is that how Tesla charging stations work? You have the card in your system.
In the system, so I don't have to do anything except plug it in, then it charges, and boom, I'm done. That's Tesla. Now, if I wanted to use Blink or any other guys, you have to use the card there, or because they have a slider. But I won't use anybody but Tesla because you get the fastest charge with Tesla. So, all right. Let's see. Film review.
Just an aside, does it bug you? You have to drive out of your way to get charged?
I don't have to drive out of my way.
You're
Everywhere.
on the road to South Carolina.
South Carolina, I got to. There's 2 times I'll have to stop to charge. Well, at least one, maybe 2. And there's charge stations right along the road because it's along most of the major highways, and they're usually a charge station every 20 to 30 miles. So, yeah, it's kind of.
I didn't realize it was that.
Oh yeah, there are more.
That well done.
Yes, when I first got mine in 2018, it wasn't quite that. Like I couldn't go down the turnpike, and there were no charging stations on the turnpike at all. Now they got them on the turnpike. You got them everywhere. I mean, there's 160,000 charging stations across the United States of Tesla.
Wow, I had no idea it was that prolific.
And if you go to Arizona, there their charging stations are powered by the sun. They have giant solar panels all over, and so all the electric is really cheap out there because of that. And actually, if you're renting, the other thing that is important, if you're a Tesla owner and you charge at Tesla's charge stations, you get to pay basically a little more than they pay. If you are another EV other than Tesla, you can charge there, but you have to pay a higher rate, which is another reason to go with them. So,
well, they're trying to make it like that.
It's kind of a discount for being a customer discount, you know. They want to make money because they're not really making money on their charging stations. They make money off the cars, but they make, a little money just for, you have to have.
It pays for itself and they get a little.
Right. That's the whole key to the thing. Like, for instance, now there's out in New Jersey, the turnpike in New Jersey used to be Tesla stuff. Well, now a different company came in from out of the country and is going to run their service stations, and they're not going to use Tesla. They're making Tesla remove their charging stations from those places, and they're going to charge a lot more. They're going to charge at least twice as much as Tesla charged, which is a problem. I don't want to use their stuff, so I'm going to avoid their stuff. I'll go off the turnpike rather than using their stuff. I'll go to somebody else like Wawa or something. So anyway, all right. There is a new movie out. Well, I guess coming out, if it's not already out. It says film review for Boy George and the Culture Club. Did you know that they actually made a film about Boy George?
I had no idea.
I sort of, even though I wasn't a big fan of Boy George, I probably would like to watch that. I'd like to see how that band started. Because the guy really falls. I mean, really, I would never have been able to do what he was doing. And I guess he's gay. I mean, not that it matters, but he made a statement, and he didn't mind sharing that whole statement with the world. So I would watch that. So I think it would be interesting. Be interesting to see some of the stuff that we don't know. It was at the Tribeca Film Festival, so I think we'll probably see it in the theaters. So eventually, I would probably watch that. I admire somebody that has the guts to speak their truth, who will go out there and
unashamedly.
Yes, because I tried to do that in my life for the most part, and that's probably why I had a hard time finding friends, because I wasn't easy to understand. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it'd be interesting. Warner Brothers is splitting into two companies. It's interesting because they own Discovery and they own a whole bunch of different HBO Max. They're going to split that company up a little bit, just kind of like Peacock did recently, where Peacock ended up not Peacock, Xfinity. And by the way, my Xfinity email still isn't working. Just to make it perfectly clear how much I hate Xfinity and Comcast, because they messed up my system, messed up my did I talk about did that happen after or before? Did I talk about my Tesla stock last week?
Like you mentioned it, I don't know how much you spent time with it.
Okay, where the scammers actually sold my stock.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, fortunately, I got it all back, and I got it switched over to. I bought that on E-Trade. Now, E-Trade's owned by Morgan Stanley, but Morgan Stanley doesn't really mess with that for the most part. But Morgan Stanley moved my stuff over to them so that they can't touch I'm not going to go through E-Trade anymore. I'm going to go through Morgan Stanley, which makes me feel better because Morgan Stanley's a lot better at security. Because they didn't tell me how many weeks it was that they were trying to steal my money. And when I told my my stock guy, he said, "We'll move your stuff over to us." I said, "Okay, sounds good to me." All right, so here's what the deal is. The streaming and studios company will consist of Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, DC Studios, HBO, and HBO Max. That's going to be one company. Then the other company, the second business, Global Networks, will include such entertainment as sports and news brands centered around CNN, TNT, U.S. In the U.S. Discovery, free to air channels across Europe, and digital products like Discovery Plus streaming and the Bleacher Report. So they're going to split their company, much like Comcast did with their company. I found that interesting because they're just following suit with what Comcast did. The split's expected to be completed by mid-2026. So we'll see how that does, and I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why they are doing that, other than maybe to have better control on a smaller company. So a mistrial was declared in Harvey Weinstein's retrial after the jury foreman refused to rejoin the deliberations on the final rape charge. Weinstein is previously found guilty on one charge and acquitted from another, from what they were saying. So, I mean, it don't really matter. He's in the final stages of his life too. So,
And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get a hardship for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's in any danger of to anyone else now because he's an old man and he's dying. But it's hard to say. Just weird. Why would you refuse to rejoin deliberations unless he was a patsy that was supposed to do that to get the retrial? I mean, I just found that really interesting that the guy, and wouldn't he get in trouble being the foreman and not showing up?
They can't do anything to him.
Okay.
That's the mistrial.
Okay. I just kind of thought that was weird.
If he talked to the press or did something wrong in trying to persuade somebody to change their mind, yeah, you could get in trouble for that. But just saying I'm not going to go back in the room,
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
I mean, if you end up being picked for jury and you don't show up, you get in trouble for that.
Or you don't get in trouble for that. Yeah, you're right.
And he's a foreman, so I don't know. Kanye West made a brief surprise visit to Manhattan Federal Court Friday to support Diddy. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but that surprises me because I would think that everybody would distance themselves as far as they could from him.
Yeah, but that's Conway. Conway marches to his own.
Well, yeah. Well, hopefully he'll be next because he's such a jerk from everything I've seen of him. It says here. Wait a minute, bring it up here. Are you gonna open? You didn't open. Why didn't you open? There we go.
Didn't Conway flirt with Trump, following Trump into his record sales dip?
I don't know. Isn't he the one that did the Nazi thing? So he wasn't. Yeah, I mean that guy's. I have no.
I mean, he's his own person, and I'm not saying that in a good way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired of that guy. I don't have a problem with people speaking their mind, but when you do it for sensationalism, he's really hurt himself more than anybody. Because I think he's hurt his own record sales when he started doing that, and I don't know. They must have made so much money they don't care. Anyway, it says he arrived at the courthouse dressed in a white denim jacket and sporting sunglasses shortly before 11:30 a.m. and spent about 40 minutes in the building, but his appearance created a media frenzy. So, I don't know. I think he probably, knowing what he is into, he's into sensationalism. He probably did it just for that. He probably didn't do it to support. Did he? He probably just did it, you know. But anyway, yeah. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if somehow his name comes up later on for some things. Watch him be at those parties that everyone was talking about. All right. All right. How to Train Your Dragon came out recently, and it did $198 million for the opening. That is darn good. I would not have. I mean, I knew it was going to be a good one, but I didn't think it would be that good. But it's kind of cool to see that the movie industry is starting to rebound a little bit. So it's good to see that they're doing. It says here. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Now I saw one of those, and I don't remember which one I saw, but because it's been a long time since it came out. But it says, borrowing a page from Disney's playbook is paying off big time with Universal at the box office, where the live-action remake of the How to Train Your Dragon opened to a series best $84.6 million domestically and $197.6 globally. That's crazy. We haven't seen numbers like that since pre-COVID. We're seeing we saw a couple movies do that so far. So maybe we're seeing.
First of all, it's family friendly because they advertised it during The Chosen.
Oh yeah, okay.
They advertised it at The Chosen, so I knew it was family. It was kid friendly, or they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see some movies hit good numbers again. Because they're not getting my money back.
It looked good, the trailer. I would have, if I was a moviegoer and I could get my wife to go, I would have gone seen that movie. The trailer was good.
We might go see that one, but I've been so busy I just haven't had time to go to the movies. Because the last movie, we actually saw a movie a couple weeks ago. I can't remember what it was, but it was a good movie. I used to go every weekend. I used to see 1, 2, sometimes 3 movies a week. So, but I just recently not really doing it. It says here, after the roost of 3 consecutive weekends, shattering numerous records, Lilo and Stitch fell to second place domestically with an estimated $15.5 million from. Let's see here. What are they up to? They're up to. Lilo has now earned $366.4 million domestically, $492 million globally. So that's a total of almost $1 billion for that movie. So that's pretty good. I like to see the movies starting to make money again.
It's a lot of money, Mike.
It is. That's the old days there. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't remember. I think we talked about this. The Naked Gun reboot. Did we talk about? Well, obviously, the guy who did Naked Gun is dead, so he's not going to be in it. But Pamela Anderson, and of all people, Liam Neeson is going to be in it. So I think that's going to be a good movie. Liam Neeson has that deadpan, I've got a special set of skills that
yes.
And he's going to be doing a comedy thing, which I don't know him for comedy, but the way that, if you watched, what was the guy's name that did Naked Gun? Leslie Nielsen. Okay. So Leslie Nielsen, I saw a special on, it was on YouTube for It was talking about the Naked Gun, the things you didn't know about Naked Gun. You know what? Leslie Nielsen was a very straight actor and wasn't going to do it unless he could do it. He wasn't going to be a goofball. He was going to deliver his lines straight pan. And he did. And that's what made that movie so good, was that it wasn't a joke. It was, people were very serious in all their roles, and that's probably why Liam Neeson's going to be in it, because that's him. He does everything in a very straight, role. He's not going to be a joker. He's just going to be, kind of funny. But yeah, it's.
Pamela's pretty pretty.
What's that?
Pamela is still very pretty.
Yes, she is. She looks a lot different though. She must have had some surgery facially.
I'm sure she has.
Yeah, and I think she had reduction too in certain areas. So probably better that way. I thought she was entirely too big before. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing that movie come out.
Project had things removed.
Yeah. All right, so. Oh, I thought I had that in the other page. Okay, let me go back to that. That one I can do next week. I want to make sure I don't run out of time. I'll do that next week. Wait, maybe I won't. That's the last. Oh yeah, Jimmy Swaggart, 90, in critical condition as family braces for the worst.
I watched him when I was in my 30s. I watched him all the time.
Wow. Well, he, I mean,
Until he got in trouble with prostitutes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He has a thing for women.
Well,
Paying for them.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we all do. We all kind of pay for them one way or another. Yeah, it says he had he's in intensive care following a heart attack and may not survive, according to his son. Without a miracle, his time is short, says Donnie Swaggart, who preaches from the same pulpit as his ailing 90-year-old father. So, geez, to lose a pope and now possibly Jimmy Swaggart. So.
Well, he lost a lot of his. So I visited his complex.
Oh.
And it was after the scandal.
Okay.
And there were unfinished buildings. Because he had seminary.
Okay.
And they had dorms. And the dorms weren't finished, and the seminary was closed. And the church had black curtains, so it looked like he had a full congregation, but he didn't.
Wow.
It was like a third or.
Wow.
He lost a lot in that scandal because he wasn't really repentant.
Right.
He was belligerent.
Wow.
He was part of the Assembly of God denomination, and they wanted to put him under censure for 2 years. He could still preach, but he couldn't sit on the board. He had to turn it over to his wife and his son, Donnie, and he would have no decision-making ability. He could only preach. That was it.
Wow.
For 2 years. And he had to meet with other preachers for counseling.
Wow.
And he refused. He refused to do it. Left the Assembly of God. And he lost a lot. He lost his ministry, basically.
Yeah, but he had enough money to make it. So, I guess.
Let's put it this way: he and his family are not hurting for money.
Yeah. He's now going to get to meet his maker. So.
You have to answer to him.
That's what it's all about, I guess, in the long run. All right, next thing here. I have. Oh, we were talking about Diddy. Let's talk about Diddy a little bit. Diddy juror was booted for lying, judge says. Another mysterious jury problem lurks in the background. Okay.
Yeah, I think he lied just so he got picked for the jury.
That's really weird. Okay, what's going on here? There we go. Judge Rip's lawyers.
Maybe like something about. Oh no, he needs to see our details.
Yeah. See, I hated the whole idea of jury duty. I've been lucky enough I've gotten out of it every time I've been chosen, but I just don't want to do it. I just don't really want to be responsible for someone else's
Well,
stuff.
my cousin Ricky, who lives in Rockville. Nobody knows what that means except you.
Yeah.
But she was in New York and she was part of a murder trial, and the guy threatened all the jurors from the stand.
Wow. I don't know. It says the judge in the Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial ripped into attorneys for both sides after Tuesday's details from a closed-door proceeding were published in the media. Someone's lying, Judge Arun Subramanian, threatening to hold who was here on Friday in the courtroom flagrantly violated his court orders. That could be a problem, I would imagine. Now, in that case, couldn't the juror be held? But couldn't the juror get in trouble?
Yes, he's not supposed to talk to the press at all.
Yeah.
You get booted. The juror would just get booted. The lawyers, however, could be disbarred.
Well, here's another juror thing too. This is for the same case. It says here, Diddy trial juror began laughing after watching alleged freak-off tapes for the first time. I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would laugh at them. One of the biggest stories in the hip-hop trial is that it's been going on for 24 days. Overall, Monday was a pretty monumental day in the trial for good reason. It so happens it's the first time jurors were shown the alleged freak-off tapes. Ever since the raids on Diddy's home back in March 2024, there's been an almost mythic quality to the existence of these tapes. Ultimately, they will not be shown to the public for good reason. However, some have questioned whether or not prosecution would show these tapes to the jurors. When in question, it was answered emphatically on Monday. According to Deasia Robinson of the Neighborhood Talk, the response of the alleged freak-off tapes was varied, although there were some jurors who couldn't help but laugh. Audio of the tapes spilled out into the courtroom, subsequently caused laughs from one of the jurors. Meanwhile, another juror could not help but shake her head. I mean, boy, I'm telling you, this I don't know where this is going to end. I mean, this is nothing good's come out of this for Diddy. I've not heard one thing that he could possibly say that's going to save him out of this. So unless something is really that we're missing something, he should have just I don't know.
He's coming off as a pervert.
Well, I mean, he's a pervert
Pervert?
yeah, I mean, very abusive apparently. So I don't know. Nothing. I mean, I guess the defense hasn't had their chance yet, so I'm curious how they're going to come up with a defense for all this stuff. But it looks really bad for him. So, not that I'm upset about that. I think when you do this kind of stuff, it's good when you're called on it, and there's nothing you can do about it. I have another Diddy story. It says here, prosecution argues that Diddy allegedly bought flights and hotels for escorts, which could constitute sex trafficking. So, yeah, he must be nice to have all that kind of money, but maybe not. It might be what gets him.
The thing is, something he would have done is double the price of the escort so she could get her own hotel room
And not make it traceable.
and not make it traceable. Yeah, cash only.
It says here, prosecutors were shown charges on a card for a round trip from New York to Los Angeles for a man referred to as Dave. Additionally, they brought forward various hotel charges, including a $500 bill for drape and carpet damage, a $950 invoice for linen damage and deep cleaning, and a $46,786 charge for penthouse damage. He's facing 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Yeah, that too. Yeah, that one too. And 2 counts of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The prosecution, whatever. The prosecution argues the alleged evidence of paying for escorts that cross a state line, though consensual, could constitute trafficking. So, yeah, that
Now,
kind of,
now, another problem was that he is wealthy enough to have had some very smart lawyers to explain to him what to do and what not to do. So he's not the brightest bulb in the pack.
yeah. He left a large trail. Seriously.
Because any lawyer worth his salt would have said pay cash, no traceable anything.
Yep. So it looks like, another brick in the wall, so to speak. So, I don't know. I think it's really weird. All right, let me see here.
I so want him to get nailed.
I do too. Just because he was arrogant and like he couldn't get caught at anything. So I'm gonna save some of this stuff for next week because we got so much other stuff. This one should probably be in the other. Let me see this. That's Saturday. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the other file. All right, now let me drop this in the other so that I don't lose it. Oh no, because I got some good stuff on the other stuff too. Plus, I don't know what you have. Okay, drop this stuff here.
All my stuff is not dated except for one thing.
Okay. Why? Okay, is that a hold on, let me paste this down so I don't lose it. Drop it. I'm not dropping it. What's wrong with it? Okay, let's do a shift, insert. There we go. Okay. Why don't you do the dated one, and then we'll go into the breaking the band. I'm not sure.
Now there was a drug test.
Oh.
And, on June 5th, there was 3 ones: Atlanta, South Fulton County, and Douglas County. And they confiscated a lot of weapons.
Oh yeah.
And 56 kilograms of fentanyl.
Oh.
89 kilograms of meth. 10 kilograms of heroin. And one of my notes here. Then coke, I don't know how many kilograms. But it was enough, they estimate it's enough to have killed, the fentanyl alone, 50 million people.
Wow.
That's why I did this. The guy's facing, Theodore S. Hertzberg is facing 40 years to life.
Wow.
Possession with intent to distribute 33 firearms was in his house, cars, and on his person.
Okay.
Yeah. No one needs 33 firearms unless you're a collector.
Yeah.
And he's a convicted felon, so he shouldn't have had one firearm.
Oh, wow. That's a problem.
But it was enough to kill 50 million people with fentanyl. I deal with fentanyl all the time. I have a lot of guys that use fentanyl, and they are walking time bombs because one little, if you get meth laced with fentanyl, I mean that's a death sentence.
Well,
And these guys are playing around with it, and I haven't had anybody die on me yet in 2 years. But
wow.
my luck's gonna run out here at some point.
Yeah. Well, they had prescribed fentanyl for Pam, and that was
That's an extremely addicting drug.
yeah. And I kept like saying that this was not good, and I actually tried it once when I was in so much pain that she said, "Here, try this. It's a patch. You put it on your arm." And I put it on my arm, and I had to go see a friend of mine when I was driving. I was like, I couldn't really. I had to pull over. I couldn't control anything. I couldn't figure out what was going on either. It took me a while to figure it out. I said, well, I didn't take any. Oh, I got the fentanyl. I took the fentanyl patch off and closed my eyes, and for like 10 minutes, just let it go, whatever it was doing. Pulled it after that patch. About 10 minutes later, I was okay. I was back to normal, and I never would touch it again. And that was one of the things that I think destroyed her. And
some people love that feeling.
See, I didn't like it at all. I couldn't drive. I had to pull over because there was no way I was going to be able to drive.
They didn't have fentanyl when I was doing drugs, but they had animal tranquilizer, which is similar. And I did a lot of animal tranquilizer.
Where would you get that?
Well, I didn't steal it, but other people would steal it from vets, or vets would sell it on the side.
Yeah, that's crazy. There was let's see here. It was.
Different people like different things. Like
here it is.
Like speed.
I have a lawsuit with Purdue, and today it said, and I don't know if I'm getting anything out of this or not, but I didn't care if I got money. I wanted to make sure they went down. It says all 50 states and U.S. territories agreed to a $7.4 billion settlement with Purdue Pharma and its owners yesterday over the company's role in the opioid crisis. If approved, the payout will resolve thousands of outstanding lawsuits, and it will allow future litigation. And it's the largest settlement of its kind surrounding the decades-long epidemic. Purdue released OxyContin, a powerful prescription painkiller in the 1990s. But they also did fentanyl too, I think. The drug has since been blamed for fueling the opioid epidemic, resulting in 645,000 U.S. deaths since 1999. Purdue filed for bankruptcy in 2019 to settle lawsuits accusing it of downplaying the drug's addictive natures. Last year, the Supreme Court overturned a $6 billion settlement on the grounds that bankruptcy courts can't prevent future lawsuits. By removing that stipulation, the new deal clears the way for Purdue to complete bankruptcy proceedings. The money will be used to fund state-run addiction treatment and prevention programs. So, yeah, I was glad to see that today.
So I have a broken foot, you know that.
Yeah.
When I went in to get the boot, my podiatrist said, "Are you in pain?" And I said, "Well, when I walk, I'm in pain." He said, "I've got something for you." And I said, "I don't want any narcotics." And he said, "You need it." I said, "I don't want any narcotics. I'll take a lead. I'll take 2 Aleve twice a day."
Yeah.
That's more than you're supposed to take. But I said, "I'll take a lead twice a day." I said, I don't want any narcotics." He says, "Are you sure?"
Wow.
I'm saying, don't push it on me, man.
Yeah.
No.
That's weird.
I already said no. How many times do I have to say no? I mean, I like the guy, and that guy was trying to do me a favor, but it's like, if someone doesn't want it, don't push it.
Yeah, I don't know. At one point I was taking 16 Tylenol extra strength a day to try to get through my days because my back and stuff was really bad. And the one doctor made me give up my oxycodone. And I said, I don't mind giving up the oxycodone, but give me something, some kind of answer as to what I should take. And so I got off the oxycodone, and I did it quicker than he wanted it to be done. He gave me 3 months. I got off in a month and a half. And I had a friend I was dating at the time. She was a nurse, and she worked for the VA, so she knew how to get people off stuff. And I just listened to her, and I did it her way, and I got off it pretty quick. So I got off it, and I walked into the guy's. I said, "Look, I'm off it. Now what are we going to do?" He said, "You're done." I said, "What do you mean I'm done?" He said, "Well, you're off the oxycodone." I said, "Well, that wasn't the problem. The problem is the pain. I still have pain." He said, "Well, you're done." I said, "Okay." And so I didn't have oxycodone for a year. And then I was in my regular doctor's office, and the nurse said, "How are you on meds?" And I said, "I'm not on any." They said, "Really? What about the oxycodone?" I said, "Well, they took me off the oxycodone and didn't give me any kind of solution, so I've been popping these Tylenol PM." And I told her how many I was doing. She went back to my family physician, and he said, "Look, here's what I'll do for you. I'll give you a week supply at a time." I said, "Okay." So I've been very good at it, and I've been taking that 1 week supply to 2 weeks every time. And because I'm not trying to be addicted, I'm just trying to stay out of pain, you know. So, I don't know another solution. If they could tell me another solution, I've got scoliosis. I've got my rotator cuffs are screwed up. I got to do knee surgery, and I haven't done any of that because I really don't want any more surgeries. If I can avoid it, I don't want any more surgeries. So since I lost weight, my knees aren't quite as bad, but they're still bad, but they're not quite as bad. And yeah, it's a real sad situation, and I got most of that by my being heavy, and I've gotten the shoulder stuff by being in wrestling, and the scoliosis is something that I guess is something that is genetic. So there's not much I can do about that. So, all right, Ozzy. Let's talk about Ozzy Osbourne, the bad man from the
Black Sabbath.
Yeah. When I was
the boy that never grew up, he never grew up.
Yeah. I do want to. I told you this off the air, but I want to say that on the. I don't think I said it on the air. So, when it comes to Black Sabbath, I think I may have mentioned it. Before I heard of Black Sabbath, I was into pretty mellow music. I was into Sly Stone. I was into Beach Boys. I was into pretty mellow stuff. And my cousin, who I became pretty close with, Riley, he came back from Vietnam or wherever he was in the 70s. I don't know where. Anyway, he was a ranger, a black ranger, black beret, and he was also a ranger. I guess that's different. I don't know much about the military, but anyway, he came back and he introduced me to. My brother was into Alice Cooper and some pretty hard stuff, Aerosmith and stuff like that. And I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything I was really into. But my cousin introduced me to this Black Sabbath, and I'm like, I'm not going to like this. This isn't really what I want to hear. And he played this stuff, and he played I Am Iron Man, and the tone of it was so different from everything I've ever listened to. And somehow I like this for some reason. I like this. And we actually do. We do Ozzy. We do Ozzy songs, but But I thought something about this music is so different than everything else that's out there, and I liked it, and I couldn't believe there was anything like this because these guys, they're a four-piece band, and they're. This is my first real induction into heavy rock and really liking it. And from that, I found Deep Purple, and I found all the other guys that I liked. But there's something about the Black Sabbath sound that was so eerie and so different. And I just really think that they were a bunch of people that were lost themselves, but you had a really unique group of people. Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, and Ozzy Osbourne. To me, that's the only version of Black Sabbath that was awesome. The rest was good, but awesome. I mean, when you think of Black Sabbath, I always think of Ozzy, even though he was only in the band for 3 albums, I think it was. So
He didn't make the fourth. Did he?
no, he did not. That's when they went to hold on, I'll tell you who. They went from no, the funny part is, do you know that they were originally called what was it? It was something really strange. It was the name was previously Earth, and they changed the name from Earth because there was a polka band, a polka blues band that had that same name, so they changed their name to Black Sabbath. So Paranoid was the first album that came out in '70. Master of Reality came out in '71, and then Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath came out, and then Sabotage, and then Technical Ecstasy, and Never Say Die. That's the order in which that they came out. Osbourne was in the band till
79.
'79. After that, he was replaced by Ronnie James Dio from Rainbow, but up till '79, that's when I think that's when they were rocking and rolling to me. Because after that, then you lost a lot of the members of the band. Heaven and Hell came out. That's when.
And Tony took over, completely took
Right.
over and took them into more techno stuff.
Yes, yeah. But Tony, I don't know if you know the story of him. I don't remember if they said it on the show or not. But he actually worked in worked with metal and stuff, and he cut off.
Yeah, they did on the show.
Did they say that? I didn't remember if that. I watched it again today, but I don't remember how much of that came and how much that came from.
He had to learn how to play it.
Yeah, but he's a
Because
lefty.
he had no feeling in his fingers.
Right. I think he's a lefty too, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
he was
But he plays it right-handed, I think. I'm trying to remember. I think it's something like that. But the whole idea of that, though, was that the other members of that band, since Ozzy left, I think Ronnie James Dio did a good version of things. But did you know also that Ian Gillan was in that band? And he was in for also a Deep Purple guy who was also Rainbow was the same guitarist as Deep Purple. So I thought it was funny how he kept taking Richard Blackmore's people and doing things with them. And Vinny Appice was a really good drummer that replaced Bill Ward at one point. But like at one point, the only guy that was original was Tony Iommi because everybody else had left the band. So it wasn't really to me, it wasn't Black Sabbath. It was just Tony Iommi.
Well, you talk about back to drums. You talk about an obsessive personality.
All of those guys were heavily.
That was Ozzy because Ozzy got $92,000. We're talking pre-80. So you know how much money that was.
Right.
And he partied it away.
Yeah. But the other thing is that these guys were trusting their manager at the time too.
And they ripped him off.
And they were living in houses that they didn't own, that they thought they owned, but it was owned by their manager. And so they were actually broke.
They were broke and homeless.
Yeah. I can't imagine that kind of situation because, you know, here you are, you're young, you think you're doing well, you're playing to sold out stadiums and stuff, and yet you don't have any money. How many times have we heard that story though? Where,
over and over again.
You know, where they just signed their life away to these managers and stuff, and they lost everything. Even last week when we were talking about Skid Row, they were on Skid Row. They didn't have any money, you know. And when we talked about Twisted Sister, you know, they did all these big tours and didn't have any money. And to me, that's so weird to think about because, you know, with Black Sabbath, obviously a big piece of that was that they snorted a lot of their money, and probably in the other bands too. But Dee Snider didn't do any drugs, so you know it's just really weird to think about. To think about not having money.
It's hard to trust people after that happens.
Yeah. You know, it just is so weird to think about that. It says here background information, also known as the Polka Tulk Blues Band from 68 in 1968 and 1968 to 69 they were Earth, and then from then on they were, you know, and they have actually played this year. I think it said something about this year. But you know, I just don't think that I don't feel that they were ever the same once they got rid of Ozzy. And the funny thing is, you look at Ozzy, man, he really eclipsed that band. He really ended up doing so much better. He should thank him for firing him. But he has a good manager because his wife was taking care of him, making sure that he was still alive. And now you look at him and you say, is he really alive? You know, the guy did.
Don't ask him because you never understand how he answers you.
Yeah. You need an interpreter. But yeah, I mean, I really loved that band a lot, and I actually knew I knew someone who knew Ronnie James Dio. Apparently, Ronnie James Dio is like, you know, 5'2" or something like that. He's a little guy. And he had a heck of a voice though, and you know he was really a good singer, but it just isn't the same. I mean, something about Ozzy, he doesn't have I don't think he had a great voice. He had a unique voice, and
he's a front man.
Yeah,
he's crazy.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, and to me, the whole idea that one of my favorite singers of all time is Ian Gillan. One of my favorite singers of all time was in Black Sabbath, which I didn't even know until today. I was like, really? He was in that? That's kind of weird. So I just think it's funny. And I got to listen to that album now that he was in, because I may not have ever heard it. I think the only stuff I remember is the stuff from when I originally fell in love with the band. And Heaven and Hell. I heard a lot of that because Ronnie James, you know, did a lot of stuff with that. But I don't know. I just think they're gonna go down in history as a band that really invented heavy metal, and no one sounds like them. There's a lot of bands out there, but no one sounds like them. And I don't know. I just think that it would be interesting to see. I'm going to have to listen to some of these other singers and see what kind of stuff they did, because I don't think I've ever heard any of their stuff since Ozzy left, or since Ronnie James left. So, who else was it? It says here, because they still are out there doing something. Like I said, in let me look here. I believe in. Whoop, here we go. Here he is. 2006 to 2010, the Dio years, Heaven and Hell. I didn't think Dio was in that long. Dio was out of there by then. Let's see here. Let's see. We talked about it says 1968. Then the Ozzy years are the Iron Man years. Let's see. Up to 1979, Ronnie James Dio was, and then Gillian was. Funny part, when Gillian was in it, it says here that he was doing a song called "Trashed." I should have been in that. They should have had me sing. I could have done that song. It would have been a song about me. It says here in 1983. Deep Purple, Ian Gillian joined. They dropped Born Again. I don't know what that was. What was from Born Again? They dropped Born Again, which had great songs, but sounded like it was recorded in a cave. The tour featured a Stonehenge set so massive it couldn't fit in some of the venues. It was later spoofed by Spinal Tap. Then Glenn Hughes and Tony Iommi solo album, Seven Star, which still carried the Sabbath name. And then in 1987 to 1997, vocalist Tony Martin fronted the Sabbath through a criminally underrated era. Albums like Headless Cross and Tyre, Tyr, had epic themes, tight riffs, and Dio-level drama, but mainstream fans barely noticed. Meanwhile, Ozzy was rising again as a solo artist, and the idea of the reunion started brewing. Then in the reunion, they did, in the 90s, Sabbath classic lineup minus Bill Ward finally reunited. It was toured with Ozfest in 2013, released 13, their final studio album, and their last tour was called The End, wrapping up in 2017. Tony Iommi, the Iron Man himself, was battling cancer, but still riffed like a beast. This was around, 2013. So he beat cancer in 2013. He's still out there. Then it says here, Black Sabbath didn't just create heavy metal, they invented an entire culture. Doom metal owes it to them. Grunge bands like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and bands like Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, all bow to Sabbath. They were crazy. It's funny because even though that these guys give them that kudos because they were so strong and all that stuff, none of those guys sound like them. Nobody else sounds like Black Sabbath but Black Sabbath. So I find that interesting that all these people that were influenced by them, nobody else sounds like them. Iommi was one of a kind in guitar. I've never heard anybody else play like him. And the fact that was a four-piece band too, guitar. It had a guitar, a bass, and drums. That was it. And then the vocalist. The fact that they were able to pull that stuff off with three people was, unbelievable. Yeah. I think that the fact that they survived as long as they did, it tells you a lot about their endurance and about their perseverance and trying to come out with a new image. They've never really been able to capture that early image in my eyes.
They were one of a kind. Like.
Yeah. That's like trying to reinvent Pink Floyd. You can't do it. Pink Floyd is Pink Floyd. Van Halen tried to reinvent Van Halen with Hagar, but it really wasn't the same. It was good. I liked it, but it's not the same band as far as I was concerned. There's bands that just can't do that. Now there's bands that were successful in putting new singers in, and but the original is really what people came to see. People came to see Ozzy, and it's funny how that kind of backfired on Naomi by firing him. It was kind of like killing him, make him bigger than he was before, kind of like a it's just funny. But did you listen to Sabbath? Were you a Sabbath listener?
I was not Sabbath listener.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was in a Sabbath rock.
Yeah, I didn't see you as kind of a Sabbath guy, but wasn't really sure.
I was in a Little Feat and Allman Brothers band.
Allman Brothers I like, and Skinner I like.
Yeah, a good jam band. You know, about as metal I got, about as hardcore rock as I got back then was Skinner.
Skinner was good. They had some great stuff. That was a band that died too early, and they kept going, even though they were dead. They kept going they just. I think the last guy.
Yeah.
I think the last guy died that was in the original band, and by now they would have been in their 80s anyway. I think.
They would have been in their 80s.
But boy, that was a good band. And the thing is, I went when I was probably about 18. They came to well, they were dead by then, but Rosington Collins, who was Rosington was in the band and Collins was in the band, came to Harrisburg and played at the Forum, and I was a guard for them, and it was a good band. It wasn't Skinner, and no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't be.
The sound.
Yeah.
Or the vocals.
And then, so they ended up going back to the original playlist of Skinner and went back to being Skinner because they weren't drawing people. But as Skinner, they drew tons of people. That was a good band. I used to do, well, obviously Freebird because everybody did Freebird, but I used to do Sweet Home Alabama. I used to do, oh, shoot, what was the other ones? Not Southern Man.
No, it's Allman Brothers.
No, there's a
Simple Man.
Simple Man. Yeah, I knew it was a man. I did a couple songs of theirs, and it was good stuff. I wouldn't mind doing some.
Did you ever listen to Little Feat?
I thought they were okay. I know there were some people that loved them to death, but I didn't.
One of them.
Yeah.
It's a band you have to be into, like Sabbath. Little Feat is an acquired taste.
Yes. And I realize that, and I don't dislike them. It's just not. It's not on my playlist. People that like Little Feat generally like the Grateful Dead. I found,
Yes.
and I hated the Grateful Dead.
Well, I do too. I can't stand it. I don't get it. You know, there's some bands you just don't get.
Right. That's
The Grateful Dead, I just don't get.
Neither do I, and I try. I really do try, but I just couldn't. I couldn't get into that hippie stuff. You know, I don't know. I just wasn't. That wasn't even when I liked pop music. I didn't like the Grateful Dead. And I know our friend Pete loved Little Feat. He used to talk about that band all the time, and I thought, I don't get that. I don't get it. But you know, there's something for everybody out there. That just isn't.
Well, you know, Sabbath is an acquired taste.
Yes.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
It was an acquired taste for you.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. I didn't get Ozzy. Ozzy didn't scratch my itch.
Yeah. And the thing is,
Little Feat and Skinner and Allman Brothers scratched the itch.
yeah. Well, around that point, I had been more of a religious person than faith person, and like I wouldn't swear, I wouldn't listen to certain things. Because of, Give Me Three Steps. Yeah, that's another one I used to do. Is Give Me Three Steps. But at that point of my life, I I questioned a lot of things when I started learning about these other music things, and because like I was always told that if you listen to that kind of music, you're going to hell, and you know that, and I rebelled for that reason. And
the funny thing is, there's only one reason you go to hell, and it isn't listening to Black Sabbath.
yeah, yeah, but it doesn't help any. When they look at you,
the crowd that I run around with now would say it was devil music.
yeah,
They're worshiping, and I knew that wasn't going on. But Ozzy is strange though. You gotta say Ozzy's different.
yes,
He's
very.
a different kind of guy.
Yep, I would say that is true. So I don't
Did you
know.
watch his show?
I watched a couple of them. I thought it was weird enough. I had, you know, what it was that made me watch the show. I wasn't going to watch it because I was thinking I don't want to see this. And then I want to see this. And then what in the world happened there? What in the world? What in the world? That's weird. I activated something. Let me see if you have your voice yet. Talk.
Checking.
Okay, you're still there. Okay. I don't know what happened there, but I moved some wires and then all of a sudden it got loud. I watched it one time out of curiosity and I thought, I don't really want to see this guy who has all this money and doesn't have any worries in the world. And then I watched it once and I saw him and he had these little dogs and they were pooping in the house and I thought, okay, now you got my interest. He's got all this.
Training dogs to poop outside.
Yeah, and then I started watching him. It just was so insane that I realized that's the way he really is. He really is that insane. And half the time he didn't understand what he said, but you know, it was just. Yeah, I did watch it.
Sharon understood everything.
Yeah.
She spoke Ozzy.
Yes. An acquired taste. Yeah, I think there's a college course on that too, where you have to learn. It's just crazy. I don't know how many credits it is, but.
Well, my 2.5-year-old granddaughter is Abby, and she speaks Abby, and the only one that can interpret it is the 7-year-old.
Oh.
The 7-year-old speaks Abby, and the rest of us go, Lincoln, what did she say? What does she want?
That's funny. That's pretty wild. So, all right, I think we beat this topic up enough.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was interesting. I'll just say this. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I watched it again because I do remember some of this stuff, and it was kind of funny to watch it. Okay, now where's my mouse? Why is it not working? All right, my mouse is not working now. Oh, I wonder if that's what it was. Let's see. No, that's. Oh, now it's working. Okay, so that's weird. That's really weird. Okay. Yeah. So all right, we'll wrap this up with Black Sabbath. But yeah, I would say that they definitely deserve their thing in the Hall of Fame. So we will let them. I'll let them know that. And in fact, why don't you stop in there?
Right on. Call Ozzy and see what he says.
Well, I think you ought to stop into the Hall of Fame and make sure that they're taken care of. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, it's just kind of funny. All right, so we went from my religious thing to Ozzy Osbourne.
There you go. Now we're going back to another Christian thing.
Yeah.
The Chosen.
The Chosen, yeah. So I watched 2 episodes of The Chosen this week. I watched the 7 and 8, which are the 8 was the finale for the first season, and I found I'm trying to think. 7 I think was the one where Jesus was preaching in the town or talking to people in the town, and they were going to have him arrested. I found that interesting because it's so weird to think that people were that closed-minded back then, and that he wasn't saying anything that was profound.
He wasn't saying anything against Rome,
Right.
but there was a crowd of people,
Yeah.
and Rome didn't want that to happen.
And the weirdest part, and I didn't catch it at first, and Christine told me, they found that bag of gold. And I thought that was weird. She goes, "You know where that came from, don't you?" I said, "No." And it ended up being the, what was his?
Nicodemus.
Yes. And he
You
couldn't,
know why he did it?
because he wasn't able to go with them.
Because he couldn't give up his lifestyle.
Right. And so does that change in the future? Does he end up with them?
He ends up being a friend in season 5. We don't know how much of a friend he is, but he ends up being a friend.
Now, is he a real person?
Yes, Nicodemus is real.
Okay. 'Cause-
Remember the conversation on the rooftop?
yes.
That occurred. That's in scripture. That
Okay.
occurred.
That was, it was really interesting to me because of where we see his arc go, where we see Nicodemus, is that what you said?
Yes.
Where we see his arc, because he was in the first one, and we see how he's pretty stringent on what he teaches, and we're seeing him now, he has that discussion with Jesus, and I think he realizes,
He recognizes that he was the Messiah.
yes, which I
And,
found,
and Jesus offers him a chance to go with him,
yes,
but he can't give up his lifestyle. He can't give up his wife.
right. And I was surprised because I thought, is he gonna? Because I can't really say that I knew what was going to happen because I didn't, and that's what makes it even better is that I don't know what's going to happen. If you see a script for a movie and it's going to, this is going to be that, it takes a little bit away from the movie. But this show turns out to be very interesting the way that it was written. I didn't like the first episode, but you said just give it some time, and it is working out so that
It gets better. It gets better. And each season gets better, I think.
So after they decided they were going to take their walk, their journey, and he decides he wants to go to this one town rather than this other town that they were talking about going to. And he sends his people on their way. He's sitting by the well by himself. I'm thinking, why did he do this? And this woman comes up, and I didn't know what her story was, but I guess these people are not liked.
Samaritans.
Yes, they're not liked in other places.
They are a mixed breed. They're Jew and Assyrian,
Okay.
and they're hated by the Jews.
And it was interesting because the woman was taking it
Jews
offensive.
would walk 2 days around Samaria instead
Okay.
of going through Samaria.
Hmm.
And if you remember the one disciple, I think it was Little John, said, "I've never talked to a Samaritan in my life."
Yes. I found that interesting because it just was, and she thought that she was going to be unable to do whatever she was supposed to do while she was there. And she was very evasive because she's like, why are you even here? It's like,
Yeah.
she didn't understand. And I wasn't sure where they were going with this because he was by himself. And I guess the rest of the people, when they came back, what's she doing here? It's like they didn't approve of her being there. So the statement was pretty loud that he was accepting her into his world. So I kind of found that it was a good ending to that first season.
Well, Mike, the other thing that was going on is he accepted her, and she was an adulteress,
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and that is despised. And in Judaism, she would have been stoned
Okay.
to death.
Okay.
If he accepts her, and he accepts the hated tax collector.
Right. Yes, that was interesting too. And I didn't think he would go with him. I didn't. Now, was a tax collector a real person, or is that a made up?
Matthew's a real person.
Is it the Matthew that we talk about in the Bible?
Yes. V. Matthew wrote a book of gospel. Yes, he wrote
Okay.
a gospel.
So this,
You will see him later on taking notes.
yeah. And I found that interesting. What are you bringing him along for? It's like
And you saw how he dressed.
yes.
Yes. Well, that's not in scripture, but that would be what a tax collector would do. He would be finely dressed, because not only did they get paid by the Romans, they ripped off their own people.
That's, yeah.
So if you owed 15 denarii for your taxes, they would charge you 20 denarii.
Hmm.
They
Okay.
took 5 for themselves, and the Romans didn't care. As long as they got their 15, they didn't care how much you overcharged.
Hmm.
That's another reason they were so hated.
Okay.
Ripping off their own people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of these, like I see how he's bringing these different people together that would never be seen together normally. And the woman, I think, was her first husband. She had, which one beat her or something like that?
The first one beat her. The second one was a good man, but she felt unworthy of
Right.
nothing. And the rest of the time, she's punishing herself.
Yes. And it's funny to watch the reaction when Jesus is saying, I know about you. I know you left him because you felt unworthy and things like that. And I'm thinking, wow, someone said that stuff to me. I don't know how I'd react if that were my history and not knowing who this person is. But eventually she realized that he's not just a person. I really think that this is, so far I'm actually enjoying the thing, and I didn't really think I would. I really thought that I tried to keep an open mind.
I had roped you into a typical Christian lousy movie.
But it isn't. It's not. It started out bad, but I think it. How do you say it was a bad movie when it's based on fact?
Well, most Christian movies have B or C rated actors.
Yeah.
B or C rated screenplays, and lousy camera work. So because it's all low budget.
Right.
This is not low budget.
No, it's pretty interesting. I think I'm actually anxious to see what happens. I don't know if I'll get to. I'll probably get one. I'll probably get to the beginning of the next season. The next week, though, I won't, because I'll be burnt out from from traveling to Orlando. But I think I can start the next season for next week. So I'm actually enjoying it. It's well done. And
what the finish? The reason why this is significant that he brings in the Samaritan and the tax collector is what he's saying is, I'll accept anybody.
yes, I got that, and it's funny watching the rest of his crew say, well, you can't bring them in, because they're trying to justify excluding them. And he's a tax collector. We can't have him. And the fact that tax collector walked away from his wealthy job, he was set for life.
He was set for life. Wealthy, and he had friends. The tax collector had friends.
Yeah,
other tax collectors, prostitutes, thieves, and they had friends.
And that one Roman soldier,
but they had friends.
the one Roman soldier tried to talk him out of leaving, and he tried
because
to.
He was good at, yeah.
And,
He got him promoted. Now that's not biblical.
Okay.
We don't know that is true.
Okay.
But it makes sense.
Okay.
Because they build this character, Gaius. He has a role throughout the first 4 or 5 seasons.
Okay.
And something happened to him that is in Scripture.
Okay.
Later on.
Him, as in Matthew, or as in his guard?
As in the guard, Gaius.
Okay.
There is a Roman centurion later on that has a child healed. It turns out it's this Gaius.
Hmm.
Okay, that's not in scripture, but it's an unnamed Roman centurion.
Okay.
But they make it Gaius because they're trying to say that this Roman was getting it.
Okay.
This Roman was getting it. Now Nicodemus in season 6 will help bury Jesus.
Oh.
So he became a believer.
Okay. I
So
can.
what you're doing is you're watching his progression.
Right. The story arc.
But he couldn't follow Jesus, and that's a problem.
Well.
Because if Jesus asks you to follow him, it's on his terms.
Right. But I
And
think
his terms for Nicodemus was leave the plush life that you're living
okay.
and come be someone who sleeps on the ground because they sleep on the ground.
Right.
They don't always have houses to sleep in.
Well, Simon seems to be having problems with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, Simon has, and he'll have more problems. He'll have more problems because I'll just give you a little hint. Jesus starts healing more people, and then something happens with Simon, and Jesus doesn't heal.
Oh. Okay.
And that causes consternation.
Well, why wouldn't he do that? Why wouldn't he heal?
You're asking a question theologians have wrestled with for 2,000 years. Why does he heal one person and not heal another?
Right.
And I have no idea.
Okay.
And that's just God's sovereign, and He makes those decisions. And we're to trust Him anyhow, even if we don't understand. There's a lot of things. I tell you this all the time. There's a lot of things in Scripture I don't understand, and there's things in Scripture I don't like, but I still believe in Scripture.
Okay.
Just because I don't understand it or I don't like it doesn't change the fact that God wrote it. And I know you have trouble with that because you believe men wrote it. Men did write it, but through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit.
Right.
So what God wanted to have said was said, but it was said through each man's personality.
Okay.
That's why the Gospels are different.
Okay.
Because each man saw a different aspect. Like in one place it'll say 2 people were there, and then the next Gospel will say, well, 3 people were there. Right? So the one that said 3 people is including himself.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So, you see it through different perspectives and different personalities. And they're written for a different audience. These letters are written for a different audience.
Yeah.
So, different things are emphasized. So, that'll become evident later. You don't have to worry about that now. But Matthew has a prominent role in Scripture.
Okay.
Now, whether he's on the spectrum or not is, who knows? You know what I mean by being on the spectrum? He's slightly autistic.
Right.
In the show.
Are these the apostles?
These are the apostles, the 12. And there's more people that follow him, but the 12 are the apostles. And Mary is just a devoted follower.
Okay. Well,
Jesus would do a lot of things, but he wouldn't make a female disciple.
Yeah, that's a little too forward.
That wouldn't have been accepted by anybody.
A little too forward.
Because people at Baptists have problems with my wife because my wife's ordained.
Yeah.
And they have real problems with it.
I don't get it. I think that you should always be able to accept everyone. And actually, the church that Ken's family went to has a female minister, and I think that's kind of cool too.
Well, if men were doing what they were supposed to do, maybe we wouldn't need females. But men are doing what they're supposed to do, so God uses females. And I'd listen to men preach, and I'd listen to their wives preach, and sometimes I'd rather listen to their wives.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I want people to, whoever does the job. I mean, it shouldn't matter if you're male or female.
Well, it matters to some.
I know, but it shouldn't. I think as long as somebody's doing the job, it shouldn't matter who does it. It should matter that it's done. That's my opinion, anyway. So.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Mike, and we'll watch the first episode for next week.
Yeah, I think I'll have time to do that. So. All right. Well, ready to dig into the dirty stuff now?
I'm ready.
So this weekend was the No Kings Festival, or whatever. Not festival.
Anti-Trump rallies.
Yes. And actually, I know someone that was at one of them, and one of them that was somebody who was on the news who fears that his business will be in jeopardy for doing that. I don't think that he has to worry about that.
That's not right.
I don't think it'll be a problem because nobody knows. The only people that know him are not going to be that many people that are going to be an issue. But even if it was, you're allowed to have your opinion. And
I have no problem with those peaceful demonstrations whatsoever.
And then what
I have a problem with what happened in Los Angeles.
And what happened?
They were not anti-Trumpers; they were anarchists.
Yes. And I had a problem with what happened in Minnesota.
Minnesota is horrible.
So Minnesota, this guy went out specifically to kill people. Specific
he had a
people.
list of 45 Democrats that he wanted to kill.
And he successfully killed 2 people. I think that's how many he killed.
Two will recover.
Yeah. And
2 died, and the dog died. They put the family dog to sleep today.
That's a shame.
Because he shot the family dog.
Yeah, there's what did the dog do? The dog didn't do anything. But this guy was
There was a golden retriever, and the most that dog would do is try to lick you to death.
Yeah. I really.
Dogs are the most peaceful, kind dogs in the world.
So here's what we got. I'm going to bring it up here. Okay. So Vance Luther, I don't know how to pronounce it, Bletter's Politics.
I would do Vultures.
Okay, maybe it is Vultures. This guy was, he just went up to I can't even understand this. This got me so confused because how could you do this? You have a family at home, you have kids at home, and I'm sorry, but my politics wouldn't oversee my family. That just is.
He had $10,000 on him.
Yes.
And passports for his family. And
his family didn't, and he had a mask. This weird mask thing. I don't. Be a man. Just if you're going to do it, why have a mask? Just do it.
Well, he posed as a police officer, and then when that didn't work, he claimed to be a thief.
Says here.
He shot mom while mom was protecting 12-year-old daughter.
Right. Yes. It's just, to me, it's just so bizarre to think about this. It says cops believe Bolter murdered a top Democrat state lawmaker, attempted to kill another, and he was also appointed to the advisory board by Governor Tim Walz. Bolter claimed to have a doctorate in education, and he spent extensive time in the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa, where he was seen in videos apparently preaching on stage. Bolter, 57, is being, well, this is I've got several articles on this. is being hunted by the authorities for the assassination of Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman has been marked in their suburban Minneapolis home early Saturday in what was described as a targeted political violence. Let's see here.
Can you imagine a 12-year-old daughter the trauma she's going to go through?
Yeah, it's just this whole stuff. It's just so foreign to me.
To have politics drive you to killing somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's. How about if we did things the way you should do it and protest
Vote them out of office.
Yeah, vote them out of office. I mean, you just don't kill them. The suspected assassin, who reportedly had a list of 70 targets, including Waltz, is accused of badly wounding a second Democratic lawmaker, Senator John Hoffman, and his wife at their home. I mean, he had a big plan of things he was going to do, and his family said they didn't know this. Now, why would
his roommate? He rented a room in the house, and his roommate who rented a room in the house. All he said was, "I know he's a Trump supporter." That's all. That's all he knew.
Boulder was reportedly impersonating law enforcement when he entered both lawmakers' homes, and when he later exchanged gunfire with police. Haunting security footage believed to show him wearing a creepy latex mask of an old man's face. I mean, he's 57. He is an old man. Was shared on Saturday by the FBI, which issued a $50,000 reward for leading to his capture. Wall described the killing of Hortman as politically motivated assassination. His roommate said, now, was he estranged from his wife?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering what that was about. They didn't really, because why would he have passports and all that for his wife?
Because I think he still loved her, but there's something wrong with him.
Definitely.
There's something very wrong, and his wife fabricates him out.
His roommate had said he had a conservative political view, but rarely talked about politics and didn't seem overly political. He was a Trump supporter. He voted for Trump. He liked Trump. I like Trump. Lifelong friend David Carlson told the Post. He didn't like abortion. He lived with Carlson and another man part-time while he worked a job in Minneapolis, while his wife and children lived on a farm in rural Green Island, about 50 minutes from the big city. Following the shootings, he sent a sinister message to his friends. I'm going to be gone for a while, maybe dead shortly, so I just want to let you know I love you guys both, and I wish I hadn't gone this. Well, I wish it hadn't gone this way. What, he wished he got away with it? What, you know?
I'm sure that's what it is.
You know, I'm glad it went that way after he killed somebody's, and then wounded somebody's. When cops searched his car, they found a list of targeted individuals, including several politicians, as well as abortion providers and pro-abortion politicians. These included Representative Kelly Morrison and U.S. Senator Tina Smith, according to the respective offices. A picture of the handwritten flyers with the slogan "No Kings" has become a popular anti-Trump rallying cry. Were also reported found in his car. I mean,
Well, here's the sad thing. Like we talked about this before we went on air. 23% of the nation believes it's okay to use violence to push your agenda.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at the Teslas that they were bombing and stuff like that.
What
I mean,
Pennsylvania governor went through, and Trump
right.
Twice they tried to assassinate Trump, and,
right.
And there were other ones that I can't think of at the moment, but these things are becoming more prevalent, and only the leadership of the House and Senate have security, and so the lower members now are pushing to have government pay for their security.
You know that this started.
I would approve that because copycats are out there.
That's what I was just going to say. Yep. It's not like it's going to happen. It's not like to stop with this guy. Now we're probably going to see more of this stuff, and that really makes me sad because,
And the best and the brightest are not going to want to run because they're not going to want to die.
right, yeah. I just don't get it. I cannot even fathom. And then now the guy's in custody, and now he's screaming, "But I don't have the money for a lawyer." You know what? You should have thought of that before you did it. Now his family's going to be suffering because of his indiscretion.
They gave him a county lawyer.
Well, he doesn't deserve a lawyer. He deserves to be.
And most of the guys. Look, I went through the criminal justice system once in my life when I was younger, and I had a pro bono lawyer, and I'm going to tell you right now, he didn't do his job. He talked to me 5 minutes before the court
Jeez.
hearing.
That's just crazy. Did you not even think what is going to be the result of this one way or the other? I mean, you can't think that you're going to be a hero because you shot and killed people. I mean, I don't even understand that whole mentality. I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
He's getting what he deserves because he probably's not getting a good lawyer. In fact, what I did was I asked the judge if I could represent myself because the lawyer was so bad, but he wouldn't let me. I kept pointing things out to the lawyer, and you should challenge this, and you should say something. I ended up pleading guilty because it was written in stone. I asked to change my plea, and I pleaded guilty because he told me to plead not guilty, and I thought, well, I did exactly what they're saying I did. I did it, So I changed my plea and pleaded guilty, and I got off on probation.
Well, that's
but
good.
The lawyer didn't help me, and so he's getting the same quality of law advice, and I'm kind of glad. Because this guy deserves a death penalty.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know if Minnesota has a death penalty, but I hope they do because that's what he deserves.
He's not a guy.
He deserves shot number of times, just like he did to his victims.
Yeah. Or let the dog go eat him. Let the dog just send the attack dogs at him. The whole fact that he injured the dog too. That's just even worse.
As a dog lover, I hate to say it, but that hit me more.
Me too.
Than the adults.
Yeah, I mean, I just.
The kid, and that is the mother protecting the kid. That got to him too.
And the people that are going to suffer the worst are the family members that are left, because they don't deserve that.
The other people on the list.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to feel? Because he went to a house. I think I read he went to a house and no one was home.
And it says here, accused Minnesota assassin's wife detained after a traffic stop. Cops find passports and weapons in the car. Did they know? Did they know this was going to happen?
Yeah. Well,
if they did, that's. I personally think
that's accessory because they didn't turn him in.
Right. Well, but you can't if you're married.
No, you can't.
You can?
You can plead it, but you don't have to.
Okay. Because I'm wondering if how much she knew about the wife of suspected politician assassin Vance Boltler, or whatever you said his name was, is being detained and searched after cops found a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports in her car during the traffic stop. So she may have known.
Tell me
she knew something. And so it just gets worse every time I read anything about this guy. And why? I mean, I guess they aren't estranged because, obviously she must have known something was going on.
Yeah, I thought she was estranged at first, but what you just read tells me that, no, they were together.
She was listed as president and CEO of the Praetorian Guard Security Services, which is another story that I got a whole list of stories just for this. I mean, this stuff blew up after this all happened. We found out that they had a security company. They, see here.
Didn't they have a security company? Well, trying to start one.
Okay, so that's a good question. Okay, so let me get rid of this because that's that. See, here we go. Minnesota shooting suspect ran a bogus security company and faced struggles after a prolonged stint in Africa, according to his roommate. So they were trying to start one, I believe, but I don't know that they got very far with it. It says suspected. Okay, so it says they fronted a security firm that friend said never existed and experienced struggles after returning from a 3-year trip to Africa months before he allegedly turned. Not allegedly. See, I don't like this allegedly stuff. We know he did it. There's no allegedly. I know
you have to in the court system. You're not guilty until proven guilty.
Well, I think
so you have to say alleged.
Well, let me put it in trash talking radio terms. I don't have to live by that. He's a killer.
That's right. Absolutely, I do that too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's what they have to write.
Federal and state authorities are on the. Well, they caught him already, so I guess this was all written before that. Disguise himself, and then it says, let's see, authorities are closing in. Well, that's okay. We already got him. So I don't want him to just die. I want him to suffer. Because there's no reason in the world that he should have done this. If you have a problem with those people, vote them out. Move out of the country. Whatever. You would have been better off moving out of the country than going for the rest of your life in jail or dying at the hands of the people. Says before, let's see, behind the assuming facade lurked hints of growing trouble within, which began with a 3-year stint in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he claimed to have multiple business interests tied to his security company, Red Lion Group. And that should be Lion like L-Y. ING. Red Lion. I thought his demeanor changed. He wasn't as cheerful as he used to be since he got back from Africa, I guess. He came back and was struggling. I guess that must be the roommate. Let's see, Boulder described himself the CEO of Red Lion Group on his LinkedIn page, which he lists his company home base as the Democratic Republic of Congo. So I don't know maybe something over there messed him up worse than, But why would you go to the Congo for 3 years? Nothing really makes sense to me on this at all because, why do you? I just don't understand.
But there's a book deal in here.
Somewhere, but who's going to, can the family benefit from that when there's...
Wife, if she's not indicted, wife could write the book.
Okay.
And the family can profit from it. He can write a book, but he can't profit from the proceeds. And his family can't profit from the proceeds. They go to charity.
Jeez.
But she could write the book. His best friend could write the book. In other words, get the ghostwriter
right.
And have the best friend author or the ghostwriter.
I'm glad these two survived.
Look at the trauma they're going to go through. Though.
Oh, yeah. And they're going to be...
Just for their politics. Just for their politics.
I don't know. It's just so... It's so foreign to me to think anything about killing people. And I don't... It doesn't make sense to me. And I keep thinking about... At first I thought his wife was innocent, but now I'm thinking maybe she isn't. Maybe she has something to do with this.
Or at least do something about it.
It says she was stopped several hours after the assassination while driving a car with several relatives and because her car had this stuff in it, I'm starting to think maybe she wasn't as innocent as we originally thought. I don't know. Sorry for all the trouble we caused. Yeah, tell the relatives of the people that died because of your stupidity. You know.
Turns out it was a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah. Jeez.
Watched her mother die right in front of her. You know that little girl called 911 and saved lives.
Yeah.
Because he was on his way to the third house.
All I know is that I don't know what I would have.
She lived and called 911. She's a hero.
Yeah. I don't know what I would have done. I would have been a basket case by at that point. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, this would be. Hold on here. Or is that the one I just pulled up? It might be the one I just pulled up. I think it's the one I just pulled up. Yeah. Okay, that's the one. Let's see. Here's some more. Walt says he walks back his call for meaner Democrats after the assassinations. I wouldn't want to be Tim Walz right now because he definitely is in the middle. I mean, as he's trying to walk back his, saying that what was his original thing?
Democrats need to get.
Yeah. So Waltz implored leading with grace and compassion after a madman with a kill list targeted at the lawmakers and spouses. I mean, again, why would you kill the spouse too? I mean, it's wrong on so many levels. Not that he should have killed anyone, but the whole idea of killing people, that I have a problem with that, but the idea of killing the people and then killing who else was there. That poor, that girl. There's nothing right about this, and it's all over politics. Back when we were kids, we were seeing politicians get shot left and right. We saw presidents die. It's just, are we going back to that? Poor Trump. I mean, 2 times. That's pretty bad. Our country is really messed up because
I know people hate Trump.
Yeah,
and that's okay. But you don't pick up a gun and go shoot them.
Right. There's ways to get people.
You protest. You try to overthrow the House and make it democratic.
Right.
So you can impeach him. You do it through the ballot box. You do it through protests like No King. That's how you do it. You don't go shoot people.
And the fact that it says mask Waltz appointee suspected in assassination of politician. Waltz
didn't know what he was, or who he was.
Right. I just wonder,
And when he was on that committee, he probably wasn't over the edge. Something. You're right. It sounds like to me, after you said it, it makes sense. It's something happened in the Congo.
Right. Something. Maybe somebody paid him a lot of money to do this in the Congo, or he didn't have any money left anyway. But I just can't. I can't fathom that. This is so far from anything that I would have even, It says it's not about hatred. It's not about mean tweets. It's about meaning someone. It's leading with grace and compassion and vision and compromise and decency. It's a complete 180 from the remarks Waltz made exactly 2 weeks before giving the keynote speech at the South Carolina Democratic Party convention, in which he called members to strengthen their resistance measures against Trump, whom he called a wannabe dictator. Maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner, the failed vice president candidate said to audiences. Applause. To the audience, applause.
He probably shouldn't have said that, but he wasn't meaning to pick up a gun and
right.
kill anybody.
He was saying we can't be passive about this. We need to stand up for what we believe. That's all well and good, except that
I'm no fan of Waltz, but he didn't mean for someone to go out and kill him. But
Well, he says when it's a bully like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him.
yeah, ballot box,
Right.
protest. Yeah.
And people just took that wrong, and it caused people to lose their.
Do you remember way back in the day when there was a gunman that was shooting abortion providers?
Yes. Yeah,
I'm no fan of unfettered abortion, but you don't kill somebody over it.
right. Well, that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me is that, you know, there's better ways to handle situations like this, and I was so happy to hear him say that he didn't have money to defend himself. I just thought that's why didn't you think of that before all this? You know, you put your whole family in jeopardy over your stupidity. You know, and now that we find that she knew about it, and now that we know that she at least knew something about it because of the guns and stuff in her car, I don't have
money and passports.
Right. You know, I don't have as much pity for her as I did before I read that. I felt bad for her family. I feel bad for the kids because they probably had nothing to do with it. And I can't feel anything for that guy except, you know, he should have not. Why would you do that? I would never want to put other people having to pay my penance. You know, the guy was just an idiot. Let's see, what else do I have? Do I have anything else?
I'll tell you what. Let's say she is innocent. She's gonna have to change her name.
Oh yeah, that'd be like having the last name Manson.
Yeah.
You know, I am just at a loss for things. And then a protester in Utah, No Kings Rally, was Project Runway designer, was hit by Peacemaker trying to stop gunmen with an AR-15. See, whenever they have these rallies, you couldn't see me there. I would not ever be there. Even if I truly believed that it was the right thing to do, I would never be there because there's too many crazy people out there. And I do not want to die for something that I believe in that don't.
Did you see the woman? The police were using rubber bullets,
Yeah.
which is an effective tool to stop rioters. Hit her in the eye, she may lose her sight.
Jeez.
You know why? You're right. I wouldn't want to be anywhere because I wouldn't want, because of the crazy anarchists, the crazy lunatics that show up at these things.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, it's like I won't argue with anyone about politics. I just won't. I don't say anything on Facebook or any of the things because they're insane people. There are a lot of insane people out there that doesn't matter what you say, you're in the wrong. And I learned this when I realized that everybody was attacking Tesla instead of Elon. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I love Tesla. I don't care what Elon does, but I like Tesla. So I'm going to have a car that's messed up because I bought a car? You know, and I don't want to argue with anyone. I don't care that you think that Elon is an oligarch. So what? He makes good cars. He hasn't hurt anyone. He's trying to make the world a better place by getting rid of pollution, by traveling into space, by solar panels. I don't see the person that they see. I see someone who's trying to make the world a better place, and someone who's not gonna bend to other people's opinions either. He's going to say what he believes. So, and I see this, the protester shot dead at a No Kings rally in Utah. Again, someone killed her because she went to the rally. I'm not going to any of those rallies. I don't care. I don't care. I can believe it from the day I wake up to the day I die. I'm not going to be involved in a protest because there's always going to be someone like this out there that's going to try to change your mind the way that they did to her. She changed her mind because she died. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die something that even if it's the right thing to do, I'm just not going to do it. That's the same reason I don't want to be a juror. I don't want any say in what anyone else did, does, whatever. I want my opinions known. That's dangerous these days. It's crazy.
I've lost family members over politics, and I just won't put anything on Facebook. I won't respond to anything on Facebook. Nothing.
I will not. I will not put
I
any.
responded to one thing once, and my cousin went off on me, and after that, I just won't ever respond again.
If you look at my Facebook, it's full of positive quotes. It's full of, there's a couple things I wrote about the scam that I was involved in because I wanted to be aware of it. And as far as politics goes, nope, you won't see anything political on my page. You might see a religious preacher Preacher Jesse. No, even that I don't post. I don't really need the headaches. And like whenever I talk to my one friend who's very political, he is overly political to the point where it's dangerous. I don't believe 50% of what he believes. I believe some of the stuff. I believe that there is good things with both parties. There are bad things with both parties. I didn't vote for either candidate because I couldn't buy it. There was no way I was going to vote for the Democratic candidate because she wasn't qualified. I couldn't feel right voting for Trump because I didn't like what he was aiming for. I like some of the things he did, some of the things he's done, but I didn't have it in my heart. It didn't feel right to vote for him because I like the idea of a businessman running the country, but I don't like the way he necessarily does things. So I couldn't vote for him either. So I abstained this time.
Well, I voted for Trump, holding my nose because some of the things he said
Yes.
are asinine.
Yes.
And I voted for him because he's a businessman.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to run the country, but as a businessman.
Right.
But Patty and I just get so turned off sometimes when he opens up his mouth.
Yes. That is exactly a big problem. And I don't know what to do about that other than abstain. I felt in my heart she wasn't going to win. And if she had won, it would have been just as bad in a different direction. The fact that she couldn't answer questions and by the way, Trump's going to get that settlement from what's it, CNN or one of those that he sued because they changed the narrative on the editing. That's just, to me, it's wrong on every freaking level. What is wrong with this world? What is wrong with these people? So, all right, I'm going to move on to something else now. This is weird. I don't know if you've seen this or not, Cops remove 88 children from a Bible study camp in Iowa as part of a human trafficking investigation. Did you hear about this?
No, I did not.
This is, our world is messed up. I don't understand what's going on. And I like to think that I'm somewhat intelligent, but man, I'm missing stuff here. I don't understand how this can happen in this world. But because we're talking about this kind of stuff, like human trafficking is not a new thing. It's a thing that, Okay, deputies raided a church and removed 88 children participating in a Bible study camp as part of a sweep for human trafficking investigation. Youngsters are now in protective custody of local agencies after they were taken from the Shekinah Glory Camp, run by Kingdom Ministries and of Rehab and Recreation. Deputies executing search warrants removed the children over the weekend and took them to nearby Wapello Methodist Church to meet with child protection workers.
Well, the church is going to scream First Amendment rights, but it sounds like a fringe group to me. That's a name usually of a fringe group.
It says the Kingdom Ministry of Rehabilitation and Recreation, founded in 2018, was hosting the summer camp from June 8th to June 29th. The family behind the ministry that runs the camp in Columbus Junction denied the allegations. Of course, they're not going to say, yeah, that's what we're doing. What we try to do is we take care of adults and children who are under the influence of drugs, alcohol, and nicotine. Victor Balwi, whose parents run the ministry, told the outlet. The adults and children, we take care of them. We provide food for them. The children, we separate from the adults. We separate the boys and the girls. We care for them and we provide for them. I don't know if much more than what this article says, but they said that no children were ever harmed and in danger. We never harmed that child. We loved him. We bought him things like $400 shoes, clothing, and everything. Christian teenagers from across the nation attended the camp, and the children aren't studying the Bible. They're having fun playing volleyball, soccer, and other outdoor activities. Deputies executed search warrants at several locations. One where the camp was taking place is Columbus Junction, and another was less than 2 miles away in Fredonia, where the church helps people find housing. See, none of that sounds suspicious to me, but there's got to be something there. Says
somebody somewhere said something
right
that would cause Child Protective Services to get involved.
Right. It says here the Louisa County Sheriff's Office said the operation took place in coordination with the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services, the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, and the Columbus Junction Police Department. The investigation remains ongoing. The church is run by 2 pastors from Burma. I don't see anything. Nothing is said in here what the actual charge is on trafficking, but they don't say anything. It says here they're members of the Chin, an ethnic minority, according to the Iowa Cultural Organization. Iowa has resettled thousands of refugees fleeing from the largest civil war in the world. Iowa is the largest Burmese population in the Midwest, and Columbus Junction had a significant number in the area. Many of the refugees are poor and work in Tyson Food meatpacking plant, where the company translators on premises. So these must be, I guess, a lot of these are foreign kids and people. I don't know. I don't know whether the human trafficking, what grounds they have on this, but again, this is something that the cops removed 88 children, so there's usually something, when there's smoke, there's usually some kind of fire. So, I don't know. Let's see here. We've got. Did you hear about the India crash?
The Air India?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it. I don't know much about it.
Okay, so
One man survived.
yeah, that's the weirdest part, because that plane flew into a building. So to have anybody survive. But the weird thing about that is this was about 30 seconds between takeoff and crash, and it crashed into a building too. So what I understand from this, and I'm not an expert by any extent, but the person I saw that actually explained it where it made sense. There's a guy on YouTube called Captain Steve, and he does all these things. He's a pilot, but he talks about the different crashes. He actually did an additional video on this when he did one, and then he said, I didn't really understand, and the video footage was poor. He got a better clip that explained what he believes really happened. And so what happened was all these people, they were seeing over this runway, and it took the whole runway before the plane took off, and that's not normal. And it started ascending a little bit, and then there was a mayday. They lost power and everything, and they tried to communicate again, and they were unable to communicate. And you could see the plane. I don't know if this is going to run the plane or not. If it is, I'll play it. But it's really sad to think about this. Let's see if we can get it. And it's spinning, so it's not. Doesn't look like it's going to play. But it's really interesting to watch the plane. Oh yeah, there's Captain Steve right there. So this must be an article that's revolving around what he said. So there's a rat. Do you know what a rat is? Not the little creature.
No.
Okay, in a plane, there you have your whole controls and everything, and if you have a total failure and the plane shuts off, the rat is a little propeller that comes out underneath the plane, and what that propeller does is that helps you if you're up in the air, and it's used for descending more than ascending. So what happens is if you have full failure in the air, this rat will help you guide the plane down to a safe landing. Well, when they showed the clip of this, you couldn't see anything because it was real blurry in the first clip. So what happened was, or what they feel happened was, when the plane took off, they had a total failure, and they couldn't control the plane left, right, or anything. They couldn't go. But in the newer clip, you see that the rat out. It's a little thing. It's towards the back of the plane, but it's like a rudder. It's like a rudder if you had a boat. You can actually guide the plane. Oh, here we go. This is the. Let's see if I can make this big. Let me see if that's this one up here. Might be. Yeah, okay, so we want to watch this. So this is the, hold on, let me make this big here. Okay, so here we go. So what you're seeing here is, you're going to see it up here. Here's the plane. This is from a cell phone, so you're not going to get great footage from it. But what happened is, you can see it's taking the whole runway to take off, and it's taking off here. And it's weird to think how 30 seconds could be the difference. But look how the quality is not all that good. All of a sudden, you're seeing it descend now, and it's descending, and they can't control it. and they're calling out, saying it's a total failure. And when it explodes, they fly into a building and they end up exploding the whole thing. It's just crazy to think about. All of a sudden, all these people are dead. I don't know how the guy walked away from that either.
He jumped out the exit.
Yeah, but I mean, they're in a building. They hit a building, so they're inside a building. So I just am amazed that somebody walked away from that. But the other footage that showed up, you could see the rat came out, and the problem is it wasn't high enough for the rat to be able to control where they were going, and it just destroyed everything. There was a couple people that were in that building too that died too, and the only guy that lived there was that one guy. And you see the guy walking back, and he's got like a T-shirt that's like you can see he had all kinds of soot and stuff all over it, and he didn't know what was going on because he got out of there. I would have got out of there too. And there's the other. Oh man, there's what they hit. It's just crazy. Just. I mean, think of all the fuel that they had in that plane. It's just crazy. But I don't know. I'm just amazed that more people didn't end up dying because they destroyed that building too. But anyway, that's just a shame. We're seeing more. I have to fly in October. They better have these problems fixed. Look at it. Look at that. It's crazy. It scares me that I'm going to be flying. All right, let's see here. What else we got? This is interesting. Virginia police confront a 6-foot alligator at a motel that escaped while en route to the zoo. This is mellow compared to everything else we've talked about today. It's a great gator getaway. So this gator, the 6-foot gator, was spotted casually strolling across Virginia motel in the early morning hours Monday, and cops responded to the runaway reptile. And it says here the scaly beast was seen wandering around the exterior of the motel in Fairfax County, just 20 miles outside D.C. Frantic vacationers called in the gator sighting after it turned up outside their motel room door. The officer's body camera captured the moment he stopped dead in his tracks after spotting the alligator before inching towards the edge of the property. I would freak out. I didn't even think he was gators way up in the D.C. area. Oh man. But that's just funny. But yep, calmly waiting. He was waiting for his ride.
Well, that's walking beside that gator is brave.
Yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere near that gator. You gotta be kidding me. All right, then we got that one. Let's see. I don't want to end on one bad one. I want to end on a good one. Oh, that's India. Oh, that's Crash too. Oh, I had it in here twice. All right. I had something really good. Let me see if I dropped it on the bottom. There's something. That's another bad one. Oh, how about we do this? What's the most stolen car in Pennsylvania? And actually, it's the same as the rest of the country.
Well, Alexis, a BMW.
You're gonna find this funny.
What?
The top cars stolen, most stolen cars. It's a Hyundai Elantra.
You're kidding.
That's the top 5 most cars in Pennsylvania, but it's also the in the U.S. In Pennsylvania last year, 10,812 thefts of the Elantra. Second one, the Hyundai Sonata. They must be easy to steal. That one's 9,723. The third one, the Honda Accord, 7,254. I mean, if I'm going to steal a car,
I'm going to the BMW.
I'm going to go for something really good. The fourth is I said the Honda Accord. The fourth is a Honda CR-V. Fifth is a Jeep Cherokee, the Grand Cherokee. Now in the U.S., it's the Honda Elantra, 31,712 thefts. The Sonata, 26,720. Now this is where it changes. Number 3 is the Chevy Silverado 1500. That's at 21,606 thefts. The Honda Accord, 18,539 thefts. The Kia Optima, 17,493. The Honda Civic, I love the Honda Civic. Nancy and I had one of those. 15,727. The Kia Soul, 13,562. I mean, it's a lot of little cars that are being stolen for some reason. Then the F-150, 12,952. Toyota Camry. This is U.S. wide. The Camry had 12,296. The Dodge Charger, 11,452. So there you go. There's your top stolen cars in the United States. Jeez. It says one car every 37 seconds is stolen. Kind of weird. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that it would be all those, because none of those are expensive. I guess the expensive ones are probably harder to steal.
Yeah, probably. More anti-theft.
Yeah. That's to me that was an eye opener. I thought it was going to be high ticket cars and stuff, but yeah, that was kind of weird. All right, so that can take that off the list. Let's find one more good one. Oops. Oh yeah. Okay, so one more good one would be all right. How about this is an interesting one. I don't think we talked about this before. Ancient Mayan city unearthed in Guatemala, including pyramids. Did you hear about this?
No.
So in Guatemala, you got this Mayan city with these pyramids and everything. That it says evidence of a mysterious Mayan city has been uncovered in Guatemala, Central American country of South Mexico. Archaeologists have recently unearthed the remarkable remains of a settlement nearly 3,000 years old. The ancient metropolis has been named Los Abuelos, Spanish for the grandparents. It's located in a well-known archaeological site close to yeah, archaeological site of UAXACTUN, Uaxton, maybe? I don't know. It's pretty interesting that, that at this time of our lives, we now have just found this. Because that sounds like that would.
Years, a jungle reclaims itself.
Yeah. I think that's pretty awesome. See whatever it says here. The Mayan civilization was highly advanced and influential Mesoamerican culture that left a legacy on history. The roots of the civilization can be traced back to 2000 BC. The period between 400 and 900 AD is considered the classic period and represents the peak of Mayan civilization. The civilization thrived in what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras. In the 16th century, the arrival of the Spanish resulted in the conquest of the last independent Mayan kingdoms. I just think that's pretty neat. Oh, here we go. We even actually have. Oh, that's probably not that. That's probably just something similar to. But the figures are dating back from 500 to 300 BC, offer a compelling glimpse into the ancient ritual practices of ancestor worship that may have been central to the beliefs of the inhabitants. Adjacent to newly discovered city, the researchers have also uncovered a 33 meter, 108-foot pyramid adorned in pre-classic period murals and featuring a unique canal system. This led researchers to believe that these three sites formed a previously unknown urban triangle. The set of three sites forms a previously unknown urban triangle that allows us to rethink the understanding of the ceremonial and socio-political organization. I just think that's kind of a neat little thing. I would have thought that we would have found most of that stuff by now.
Fly over and we take heat signatures, all kinds of things, trying to figure out where they might be buried.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good thing to finish on. So
yes, it is.
Well, we've learned a lot today. We've learned that I could preach.
And we heard that Ozzy.
We heard
Ozzy since grade school.
That's right. We've learned a lot of stuff today. Not all good, but a lot of good. So next week, who knows? Who knows what we'll run into? And I'll be able to talk about the shoot for tomorrow. So should be interesting. All right, where's my exit thing at? Hey, where you at? Oh, it's coming. Here it comes. Maybe it'll come. All right, come on. Oh, wow, that didn't work. There we go. Now I got it. Okay. Now we got to back it up. Okay. See if we got anything this here. All right. Yeah, it takes longer to run the intro or the outro than it is to run the intro. I think my mouse needs a new battery. All right. See if it's playing. Oh, maybe I turned it down. That could be why I didn't hear it. Talk to you guys next week.